Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Uzumaki Naruto way too powerful in reality and way too weak in appearance part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. There it was, the mighty nine-tailed demon fox. It was said that the demon could destroy mountains and create tsunamis with one swish of its tails. But right now isn't the time for that. It was attacking Konohagakure for some reason, bent on destruction of the mighty village. It seemed to be insane in power, and its killing intent was enough to paralyze anyone. But no, the village ninja are not going down without a fight. They were attacking with everything they had, but it was still not enough. The ninja were merely pests to the Kyuubi. But then, a sword came down on the Kyuubi and the fox used its tails to stop it. The sword came from its owner Gambunta, the toad boss. The Kyuubi paused and took in its first good adversary for the night. The toad boss was nearly the size of the fox and readying for another strike. The Kyuubi knew they could not defeat him, but he wasn't the one fighting. Somehow, he could not control his body. Yes, he was a demon, yes, he liked to destroy stuff, but even he didn't attack without reason. Yes, he hated humans, but that was only because they sealed him in other humans. He was fighting right now, no, his body was fighting for him. It must have been that masked man. The one who called himself Madara Uchiha. But it just wasn't possible. A mere human cannot control one of the tailed beasts. Yet he wasn't being controlled, just issued basic commands that he had to follow. Then, between his battle with the toad boss, he saw a small flash of yellow. He did not care. Then that same flash jumped towards him. It was another ninja. Oh, they were pesky little things. The Yondaime Hokage was doing seals in a blur of hands, while carrying a small white bundle. He had tears streaking across his face, now one of grim determination. He had to do this, it was the only way. He finished the seals and summoned the death god to take his life. The Kyuubi froze. That little ninja wouldn't dare. But he did. The death god was slowly taking the soul of the tailed beast and forcing it on the white bundle, unresisting. The figure of the death god was the last straw. The ninjas fled. The death god made the masked man had let go of the control over the Kyuubi once the death god appeared, but it was no use now. He couldn't move. The Yondaime knew he shouldn't do this, but Naruto was his own son. He took all his chakra and poured it into his son, along with the Kyuubi's own chakra. The death god was taking his soul too, and the Yondaime did a feat impossible. He took a bit of his ripped soul and poured that too into his son. Finally, he was taken. He chose his son as the container for his soul and the Kyuubi. His body fell, a seal on his stomach. The death god vanished, the Kyuubi vanished, and Gambunta too vanished. A few ninjas on the sidelines cheered, but it didn't last long. Kill the demon brat, the whole civilian council shouted. We can use him and make the village stronger, Danzo suggested calmly. The Sandaime sighed. This is not what you wished, Minato, he thought. He raised his hand. Quiet fell upon the room. We will do no such thing. Minato wished for the boy to be regarded as a hero. If you cannot do that, at least do not kill or maim him. You all know about the law. And the other law that a Konoha shinobi cannot attack its own village members. I will personally oversee Naruto's upbringing. This meeting is over. And with that, the Sandaime left for his office, the dread of paperwork seeping into his mind. His office was no different when he came back, but he sure felt differently. He wanted to rip the whole council apart for what they said about Naruto. Ha! Danzo was the one who he wanted to rip apart the most. That bandaged creep had no right to use Naruto as a weapon, let alone his personal one. That could wait. The more pressing concern is what's going to be done with Naruto now. He had to send him to a normal orphanage, or it would look suspicious to him when he grew up and the other people now. He knew Naruto wouldn't be happy or comfortable there, let alone safe. The village wasn't too forgiving to the kid who took a lot of their comrades and their beloved Yondaime. His safety was the big concern. He knew the villagers would take every opportunity to abuse him, and the orphanage was not a full shelter for Naruto. He would post a few ANBU with him. Yeah, that would work. He would warn the orphanage of that too. With that work over him, the emotions he had held back now rushed into his consciousness. Minato's death, the Kyuubi's attack, the villagers' hatred. All of it crashed into him. I need some sake. Those were the last words uttered in his office for the rest of the day. Elsewhere, on a pedestal, Danzo was conversing with several men and women in masks painted to look like animal faces. They had an intense conversation about a certain blonde baby that was currently sleeping undisturbed in the crib at the Hokage's office, guarded by several ANBU. Sarutobi is an idiot. He doesn't understand the value of having one of the most powerful beings on earth at his disposal. By my guess, he will likely bring him to adulthood himself personally and guard him with several ANBU from the village force. We have two ways to bring about his loyalty to our cause. 1. I can make the village degrade him so much that he will easily be intimidated to do what we want. That is really easy, but the outcomes are a bit unpredictable for my taste. The other option is that we try to win him over to us in a manner that shows us as his well-wishers. That will be harder to maintain, but a few rescues from mobs can change that. Do you three agree or have any concerns? Pardon me, but Danzo-sama, wouldn't he be more vulnerable to harmful comments about you from the Hokage? That can be taken care of easily. Each of you has to be on all of the patrols that guard him. If Sarutobi tries to tell him anything about me, interfere with the pre-made setting. Do not give the old fool any chance to go about rambling about me. It's not like many people know about myself and Root. Hi. 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 Dismissed. In a flurry of dust, only the bandaged man was left, pondering on how to go about his goals undetected. Konoha, Hokage's office. The Sandaime was doing paperwork and grumbling all the while. There was an ANBU camouflaged and standing behind the Sandaime. There was another ANBU stationed to the far right of the Hokage. There was a blonde baby sleeping quietly in a crib beside the ANBU at the far right. Oh, and there was a battle happening inside the baby that no one could see. Shit. This isn't going well. A tail smashed just where he was standing a moment ago. He really hadn't thought about the Kyuubi attacking him inside Naruto. Hell, he hadn't thought about any of the consequences when he sealed himself inside Naruto. This had been going on for well over an hour and Minato could do no lasting damage to the beast entity. How the hell had this dragged on this much? The Yondaime had an acute understanding of the seal he had placed upon the baby, but the Kyuubi was a centuries-old creature with a massive amount of knowledge. This seal was no sweat to understand, but the power of the death god had kept him under its influence. He hated this feeling, like he wasn't in control of himself, trapped. He also had no one to take out his anger on. By no means was the Kyuubi a vile creature. He only wanted balance. Konoha was getting too strong, and it was his job to stop its rise when the Senju and the Uchiha joined together. But that blasted Madara Uchiha had used his stupid eyes on him to control him. Though he had to admit that his Sharingan was pretty good. But that was ages ago. Mito Uzumaki was long dead and Kushina was too. They were his Jinchuriki, and this was the same case. Ironic, isn't it? Every time he was sealed into an Uzumaki and their husband were the ones to defeat him. This was the time that the tradition got broken, when the beast was finally sealed in a male. Anyways, he remembered another soul beside him entering the child. He had looked for weeks and finally struck upon the human feeding himself, though how he had managed to conjure the food was a mystery for him. Oh, the human, he was the one to seal him in the first place. He was going to enjoy this. He was going to beat the guy up, heal him, and beat him all over again. The only problem was, the human was a bit hard to beat up and he was getting bored of this game of cat and mouse. He didn't like this human much. The Kyuubi wanted a nap. So was the time when the Kyuubi curled his tails over himself, started his mid-battle nap. Minato thought this as a time to come out of his cover and analyze the battlefield. The room was massive, about 4 times the Kyuubi's size, easily the biggest he had seen. At one side, instead of a wall, there were vertical bars just barely wide enough for a human to squeeze through. The opposite wall had a big crater in it. That was when the Kyuubi had discovered him and attacked. The Kyuubi was weak right now. That was the only reason he had survived an hour against the creature. He looked at the slumbering form of the great beast. Nothing like when it was trying to destroy him 5 minutes ago. He went over to it and used a jutsu to bind the Kyuubi in chakra-absorbing chains. They wouldn't hold that long, but he only needed a few minutes to converse a small truce. If he couldn't do that, well, he just had to hide before the chains snapped. He waited and waited and waited. The demon lord awoke. The Kyuubi started to stretch and stopped. "I'm tied up, aren't I?" the Kyuubi asked sarcastically. "Yep," the Yondaime replies joyfully. "Knew I shouldn't trust you lowlifes," the Kyuubi grumbled. Trust us, you're a frickin' demon," the Yondaime retorted. The Kyuubi sighed. Anyways, the Yondaime continued, "I'm the 4th Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves, Minato Namikaze. And I'm the Kyuubi no Yoko, you damn lowlife." Yeah. Now, why the hell were you attacking me? Are you idiot humans really that stupid? You were the person that put me in a jail and you're asking me why I attacked you. Oh right. I did attack you, didn't I? Yeah, but you're the one attacking my village. It wasn't me, the Kyuubi said in what he thought was a quiet voice. That honestly surprised the former Hokage. He really hadn't expected the demon to say that. He thought the Kyuubi would boast about it, considering that they were demons after all. The QB saw the surprise on his face and understood. We demons don't enjoy killing, you know, we don't attack for fun either. It was me, but I wasn't in control of my masked Ma Dash. The one who called himself Madara Uchiha. Yeah, but how do you know that? He was the one who attacked me and killed Kushina. His voice got pained edge from then on. My previous Jinchuriki, the QB cautiously prodded. Yeah, but it doesn't matter now, I need to move on. What I am asking right now is a small truce to not harm each other. The QB thought for a minute and solemnly agreed. Then they talked. They talked and talked and talked. Suffice to say that the QB agreed that they will not attack each other or Naruto while they were trapped inside Naruto. Then they started on what they would teach Naruto and what they wouldn't. There is a problem there, the Kitsune was explaining. His age and shelter obviously presents a problem, but what about my abilities? I am a demon lord and my abilities are an extreme secret. Telling you and the kit will put me in danger from both of you. Minato replied, aren't there any jutsus you know that could ensure our loyalty to the secret? There is one called the Heavenly Bind technique that is used for the utmost of important rituals, and this is certainly important. So when do we begin? Haha, not so fast, Demon Fox. Now what the hell is Heavenly Bind technique, and what happens in it? Alright, it's a technique in which the words are that matter most, and whatever is said during the technique binds the users together. If you willingly break the vow, you are to forever bear whatever punishment the other users subject upon you. Okay, if that's it, I suggest doing it with me and Naruto together, as that will save a fair bit of time. Speaking about time, you do realize that we're spending our whole lives in a big sewer with nothing but walls. Oh, and how the damn heck do you plan on passing the time? The QB was going to be a prisoner, but he was not going to be a bored one. The Yondaime was now an unusually happy man. You see, when he was hiding from the QB, the week it got sealed, he had discovered a remarkable thing. Considering that this was Naruto's dreamscape, it was purely based on his imagination. This ultimately happened to the man who designed the damn thing, and a few tweaks here and there changed that soon. And then a few copies of Ika Paradise were as human much but enough medicine for the soon-to-come boredom. And the only thing he couldn't conjure was living things. The QB laughed perversely along with Minato when he saw the books. Apparently, Jiraiya's books were also quite popular in the demon realm. Anyways, QB, before you were trying to kill me and after me telling about myself, you suddenly get along like we're old pals. What the hell is your deal anyways? The QB went silent for a moment. It does look like I can trust this one, he thought. Alright, human, it is time for you to learn about the ninth-tailed beast and the rest of the demon lore. From what you told me about your petty race, you view demons as vile creatures and not as worthy to live as your own kind. You think of our personality as animals that kill for fun and terrorize your race meaninglessly. I know that not all humans that think that, but the majority still views us as that. Some of you also think of us as weapons to be used to your consent. But we demons are not like that. We only serve the death god and work for him. There are demon lords like me that are allowed more free reign. And then we take second job for balance, gives extra pay, you see, for then we have to even out the power spread at the order of Kami. There are some of us that go on to the darker side and portray that image for the rest of us. But what almost all of us agree on is that you humans are really petty creatures, never taking scope of things that you do. You uproot trees without a care in the world that those things are the ones keeping you alive, giving you oxygen. You destroy and mutilate whatever you think is hostile, even if that disrupts or destroys a food chain. You all are pretty much demons when you think about it. About being evil, you have worse monsters than we do in the underworld. That Orochimaru bastard you told me about, and the Madara Uchiha are just a few. You should have seen the ones around the world I saw. They were just as bad or worse. Anyways, I didn't always reside in the underworld, you know. I was once part of a supreme being called the Ten Tails. That thing was worse than all the tailed beasts combined. Actually, that thing was us tailed beasts combined. The Sage of the Six Paths was the one to beat it, and capture it inside himself, and becoming the first Jinchuriki. Great man, if there ever was one. He knew that the big guy was strong, and couldn't hold for long, so he used a strange jutsu to split the 10 tails into 9 different beings, which became the tailed beasts you know of today. Then that guy sealed the 10 tails' body in the moon. When the Sage of the Six Paths died, I had nowhere to go, so I took a job in the underworld and lived there from then on. I still miss the old man, you know. Really great man. The QB sighed. The Yondaime sat there speechless. He was overwhelmed at the information presented to him today. But QB, you still didn't answer the original question I asked. Why do you trust me and Naruto with this information? The Yondaime quietly asked. That. From what you told me about yourself, you are either a really good man or an even better lair, and believe me, not many people can lie to a demon and get away with it. From what I think of you, you will raise Naruto with the same ideals and beliefs you have. So I can say it's safe enough for me to trust you both. Oh, and Minato, how did you get the Ika Ika Paradise? I don't see a bookstore around here. Alright, you trusted me, and I'll trust you. I made a few tweaks to the seal and I can conjure anything I want except living things since this Naruto's dreamscape. You can do it too. Try to give this place an once-over. The QB did just that, and the sewer was instantly transformed into a plush VIP loft with every type of comfort known to man or demon. The only problem was that they were giant-sized. That didn't remain a problem for long as Minato used one of the Akimichi's jutsus to grow considerably bigger than normal. He also had to maintain it, but the QB told him to link the jutsu to the demon chakra so that it could remain there for an indefinite amount of time. Minato soon agreed, and he was now as large as the QB. Now what he wanted to do was check out the place that the QB made. He looked around. Apparently, this was the living room. Some plush couches against the wall, and a wall-sized TV in front. Instead of the prison bars, there was red double door to the left of the TV. In front of the couches an exquisite wooden table. Also, connected to the TV was every known game console known to anyone. And beside that was a bookshelf filled to the brim with DVDs and video games. All in all, it was dreams come true. He decided to check out the rest of the loft later and indulge in some mindless video game madness. The QB indulged himself in a lava mud baths he had made. Outside, Naruto sighed contentedly. Get back here, you monster! Freak! Die! Demon! Go back to hell, you demon! That was conversation between the mob and the small malnourished child that was currently running from it. Help! That was when the mob suddenly stopped and the little boy collided into a white-haired old man. The boy grunted as he fell. He looked upon the man who saved him. A spark of recognition filled his eyes along with its glimmers of hope. The young boy went behind the white-haired man and hid himself from the mob. When the white-haired man saw that, his eyes filled with anger and hate towards the people. All of you are sentenced to an hour-long session with Ibiki and Anko. He motioned to the ANBU behind him. Take them to the tower. When the ANBU finished taking the mob away, did the child finally come out from behind the man. You tell them, old man. What was that all about anyways? Why the hell is they after me that badly? I mean, I know the fourth Hokage died today, but why are they after me that badly? It's not about you, Naruto. They're angry about what happened to Minato, and when you pull all those pranks, you make them angrier. Today they just snapped and came after you. I'm here so you have nothing to worry about now. Naruto just grumbled and headed home. At home, he just knew it wasn't because of the pranks he pulled. He never hurt anybody either, so that was definitely not the reason. Then he started to cry. He cried and cried and cried until he didn't even know where he was anymore. The only thought on his mind was, they all hate me. I am a failure. You're not a failure, Naruto. That made Naruto pause. He looked around. He wasn't in his apartment anymore. He was in some sort of large sewer. There were pipes running above him. And the biggest thing, the voice came from a man in front of him. He was dressed in a blue full-sleeved shirt and matching pants. He wore a white coat with flames at the bottom. He had long, spiky blonde hair that ran down to his shoulders. In a nutshell, it was an older version of Naruto without the whisker marks. Now, Naruto being the 6-year-old that he is, he asked the first question that came into his mind. Who the hell are you? The man sighed, and then spoke. Do you really need a mirror to see it? Naruto looked at himself, then at the man in front of him. Then his brain ran amok, and then it stopped at one of the words he always wanted to say in his life. Dad? Then he looked lovingly at the boy. Hello, son. Naruto's brain went into lockdown. The villagers were completely forgotten now. Is it really you, Dad? What happened to you? Where were you all this time? What about me? Where's Mom? Did you come to stay? The question just kept running off his tongue as soon as they entered his mind. Slow down, Naruto. Don't burn your tongue. I'll answer all of them. Yes, it's really me. I was killed 6 years on this day. All this time I was inside of you. I'm sorry you got such a bad childhood, Naruto. Your mom unfortunately is also dead. And yes, I'll be here with you always. Naruto was thoroughly confused now. He was happy, but really confused. He opened his mouth, but his father raised his hand. Naruto stopped. His father started to explain. He explained who he was. He was the Yondaime. He was the fourth Hokage, the Yellow Flash, the man who eradicated a whole army just by himself. Then he began on his mother. How Kushina was the loudest, brashest, and the most wonderful woman he ever had the pleasure to meet. How she never gave up and always kept going forward. Then he told Naruto of the 9 tails. He told him how Jinchuriki were made and how his wife was one of them. He told him of the masked man and how he was controlling the Kyuubi. He told him how he sealed himself and the demon within Naruto. At this point, Naruto gasped. He knew now, this was the reason that the villagers hated him. The yellow flash continued on. Now, the man told the boy how he had been inside the seal. He told him how he mourned Kushina's death. He told him of him and Kyuubi's talk and truce. He told him how he changed the seal to allow him to conjure stuff. Naruto, sitting there, awed, then snapped out of it and tried that. He thought hard about the thing upmost on his mind. He thought of his mother. Nothing happened. He thought of a life-size portrait of his mother. Instantly, there was a large picture of a lady in a light red kimono with gold highlights. That woman's hair was also red and falling behind and below her shoulders. Minato fell backwards. Of all the things he had expected, tears came to his and Naruto's eyes. This was her. This was the woman that he loved with all his heart. I'm sorry for doing this to you, son. I'm sorry for sealing the Nine Tails into you. Can you ever forgive me? His son had fire in his eyes and yet it warmed his heart. Forgive you, Dad? Forgive the man who birthed me? Forgive the man who told me that I'm the son of a legend? Forgive the man who told me that I have the most powerful being on earth right now sealed inside of me? Forgive the man who told me about my mother? Forgive my own parent? Now, in exactly all of that, why the hell should you apologize? I'm not mad at either you or Mom for doing this to me. It's just that I never got the love of a parent, and with the villagers hating me and everything, I was really lonely. His father stared at him, and then he laughed. He laughed until it hurt, but he just couldn't stop. His son was just standing beside him looking like he won the lottery, which in a sense he had. Anyways, Dad, where's Kyuubi? Oh yeah, Kyuubi. You should come here. The yandere led Naruto through the long hallway. They arrived at what could be seen as an even bigger room than the hallway that they were in. Naruto couldn't proceed because there were bars blocking him. About halfway up the bars, there was a paper tagged with the kanji 4 seal. Past that was an infinite amount of darkness. Minato yelled out, Kyuubi, oh Kyuubi! Let a demon sleep, will ya? A gruff voice demanded. Oh lazy ass, your host is here to see you. Right then, their view was clouded by orange. More specifically, orange fur. Then they saw that the orange fur had a face, 4 arms and some tails. Actually, make those exactly 9 tails. Minato looked on like it was a daily occurrence, which it probably was. Naruto peed his pants, almost. But that was quickly forgotten as he gathered up his remaining self out of fear and looked him right in the eye. The Kyuubi was apparently surprised with that, and smiled menacingly. Naruto was told about the Kyuubi before by Minato, so he knew that the stare was false, and he still looked into his cat-like crimson eyes. Well, this kid has some guts, the demon thought. Maybe it'll be fun teaching this one. Hey Kyuubi. Yes, hi Kit. Kyuubi? Is that your actual name or just a title? The Kyuubi looked surprised that someone had asked him that. No, you're right. That's not my real name. My real name is actually Kurama. Alright, Kurama. So, he turned to Minato, what now, Dad? Okay, Naruto. Now that the introductions are done, it's time that I do something for you. You told me that you wanted to be a ninja, right? Naruto nodded at that. So, what do you think about being the best one? In fact, you could be so strong that by the time you start going to the academy, I bet you could beat the old man Hokage easily. For now your goal to get strong is to beat me in combat when holding nothing back. Then, you will also be trying to beat Kurama there in combat too. Are you crazy, Dad? Beat the Nine Tails? That's a freaking demon. Don't worry, Naruto, when you have to do that, you will be stronger than your own old man. Anyways, to get on that level of strength, you have to train really hard. For now, I have to figure out how to do all this. Anyways, now, go back home and get 4 pieces of cloth. Tie them around your arms and legs each. I have to talk with Kurama here. With that, Naruto backed out of his consciousness and tried to find those clothes that his dad told him about. He found one of his old shirts and tore out some bandage-like piece that would cover his forearms and legs and spread evenly. He did that, wrapped them around his arms and legs and then laid down on the bed to get back into his consciousness. There, when Minato saw him, he called him over quickly and then started on his training for the years to the academy. Hey Naruto, you're going to have to train really hard to become strong. What we will do is that you're going to learn all you can about being a ninja from me. You will do laps around the village every day at sunrise and sunset. The number of laps depends on how much you can take. You are an Uzumaki, so I know that you have a nearly limitless stamina. While that is going on, I will train you with your chakra. After the month, in which I expect a full understanding of it, you will be using those bandages as weights. I will increase the weight as soon as movement gets easy enough. Then we will increase your chakra control and Kurama will start training you too. I will teach you a lot of jutsus and also instruct you on various forms of taijutsu. Kurama will also teach you taijutsu and demon jutsu. He will also instruct you on how to control his chakra. Every weekend we spar. Give it all you got. If you do this for until you go to the academy, you'll surely surpass everyone currently in the village. I want my son to be the best, and the best he will be. Are you up for it, Naruto? YOSH. Alright then. Your training starts tomorrow, so now take a walk around the village and rest up. Just remember to keep all this a secret. We wouldn't want the villagers to know that you are training this much. Don't tell the old man either. If you really want to tell it to the closest of your friends that you will trust with the secret for the Kyuubi. But all in all, I wouldn't want anyone to know about this before we know fully about them. As for where you will train, the Forest of Death is rarely used by anyone and almost notices what happens inside it. If anyone even comes close, then Kurama can sense them and warn us. Now rest up, Naruto, your life is going to get much crazier. Alright Dad, good night. Good night, Naruto. You have no idea how happy I am, Dad, Naruto thought. This is the best day of my life. With that, Naruto backed out of his consciousness and went to sleep almost as soon as his back hit the bed. The next day, Naruto started doing just what his father had asked of him. He also got a very big shock when his father's voice came out of his own head. Naruto swore he could hear the Kyuubi rolling around and laughing in his head. Anyways, Naruto did about 28 laps around the village before tiring to a certain point, but he could still go on when Minato stopped him. Then, Naruto went back inside his mindscape. His father taught him all about chakra for the rest of the day. By that time, Naruto had rested up nicely and did even more laps at sunset. Minato was satisfied with the first day. Naruto was asleep pretty soon. This continued for 4 years until Naruto had chakra control surpassing the Yondaime Hokage. His taijutsu was coming along nicely and in genjutsu, he could hold his own. His dad taught him a lot of jutsus, some of which were completely mastered in a couple of days, like the Water Dragon Jutsu, while some took months, like the Hiraishin or the Rasengan. Now, at 8 years of age, Naruto almost equaled the 4th Hokage in strength. And also, all of this was done in a completely secretive fashion. It wasn't all safe though. Some of the techniques Naruto learned were Kage or Sannin level. The only reason Minato taught Naruto these techniques at such a young age was because he still felt guilty about all the things the villagers did to Naruto. Naruto himself was subtly aware of this but liked to know new jutsus, so he didn't bother the topic much. One of the lessons, oddly, was once when his dad told him to sit down and not move for half an hour. It wasn't as easy as Naruto thought, and it took him a couple of weeks. His dad wouldn't say anything about it though. He was just happy that Naruto did it successfully. After 6 months of Naruto honing his skills, it was one fateful day when a 10-year kid beat one of the strongest people in the world. Yes, Naruto had finished the first of his goals. He had beaten his own dad, the Yondaime Hokage, in combat. Naruto and Minato were neck and neck at the start. Both of them were competing using only taijutsu when Naruto cast the genjutsu on Minato, and the Yondaime had no choice but to back off and dispel the genjutsu before trying to go back in. He got no such though when Naruto shot a water dragon at him. He used a mud wall to block it, and countered with a barrage of kunai. Hidden among those kunai was a tri-pronged Dantu. Naruto predictably dodged all of them. Minato quickly teleported to Naruto's back but was predictably caught with the hair shield Minato himself had taught him. The Yondaime backed off and made an earth clone. Both of them prepared a Rasengan to hit Naruto with it. Naruto dodged and tried to counter with a punch when he was slashed with a kunai the real Minato was holding. Naruto turned around and used a fireball to gain some time and distance. The Yondaime dodged it, started a hail of kunai on Naruto. Naruto dodged almost every one. The last one nicked Naruto on his shoulder, and he lost his concentration. He was just in time to dodge a large water dragon by the former Hokage. They both backed off momentarily. They both started to regain their breath. You put up a hell of a fight, Naruto, but I think it's time for me to get serious. The Yondaime was panting. No way, Dad, I'm not giving up anytime soon, Naruto exclaimed. They both regained their breath and resumed. This time, the Yondaime was using his tri-pronged little tools too. Naruto was having his butt kicked right now, so he decided to take it up a notch too. He immediately emptied all the chakra he had placed in his bandages. That aforementioned weight was about 500 pounds right now, 100 on each arm and leg and 100 on the chest that he started a few months after the original ones when the Kyuubi mentioned it to him. He felt so relieved that he thought he could just about float right now. Except that the Yondaime could come at him from just about anywhere right now. He was panicking. I have got to focus, damn it, he thought. He started to rationalize his mind, started to think logically. The kunai, he stared in his mind, Dad's kunai are the ones teleporting him. He put on a burst of speed and ran as far as he could without the range of attack on him. His dad threw the kunai slight to the left of him. Naruto turned to kick his dad right next to him. There was a yellow flash, he was the one soaring through the air instead. Minato Namikaze had a smirk plastered on his face. Naruto cursed. How could this happen? He reprimanded himself. Of course, the kunai weren't the only things that were capable of sporting a seal for the Hiruzen. His jacket, yes, that was it. He immediately took it off and threw it away from himself. His father's smirk changed into a proud smile. Naruto took in every bit of love from it and started preparing his next move. Hiruzen, which was what he was going to use too, but he quickly crossed that idea. His father could teleport easily to his own kunai. Wait, if his dad could teleport to his kunai, then he can teleport to his father's kunai too. With that realization in his mind, he started to prepare the strongest non-lethal Rasengan he could and did a Hiruzen right in front of the Yondaime. Then a Rasengan in the stomach. Later, the fight was over. But you really should have seen the look on the Yondaime's face when Naruto's face suddenly smiled at him and he felt himself fly backwards. He fell on the floor and didn't move. Naruto did a little victory dance, but when he saw the fallen form of his dad, he grew worried. He raced over and saw that his father had a small crater in his stomach. He immediately bent down and started using the mystical palm technique. His dad, with the aid of the technique, quickly recovered and patted Naruto on the back. Well, Naruto, you finally did it, eh? You beat your old man in a fight. Though if I was going all out, all there would be left of you would be a bloody pulp. Now his tone turned a bit more serious. Still, Naruto, even if I really wasn't fighting full on, you did beat me. So I'm going to give you a bit of reward. What? What's the reward? Come on, tell me, Dad. Naruto jumped up and down excitedly. You know how I've been training you for a while now, right? Naruto nodded. Kurama is locked inside of you, and now that you're strong enough, he can finally train you. There's one more thing. Naruto looked curiously at his father. The Yondaime Hokage sighed. Naruto, I detected some of Kushina's chakra in you. Naruto gasped, so Mom is here too? The Yondaime sighed again. He had tears in his eyes now. No, Naruto. Your mom did put some chakra in here, but it isn't her soul like me. Instead, it's there, but it's there for a specific purpose. If that chakra is released, it will stay until it is all gone. What I mean to say is that the moment you do whatever she put as a trigger, that chakra will be released, and you will finally get to meet your mom. By now, Naruto had tears in his eyes and a smile threatening to break off his face. He was really happy now. For years ago, he was a lonely orphan beaten by the village. Now, he had beaten his own dad and was going to be meeting his mom pretty soon. But we actually don't know what the trigger is, so you can't meet your mom until then. It's alright, Dad. It's just nice to know that I can finally meet my parents. They wiped away their tears and smiled at the prospect from meeting Kushina. Just then, Kurama intervened. Hey kid, time for your training. Come on, Kurama. I just fought Dad and barely won in one piece. The nine-tailed demon grinned sadistically. Then, for the next hour or so, Naruto practiced his demon cloak in the forest of death. Seals were already in place to avoid anyone from feeling Kyuubi's chakra. When he finally went home, he was battered beyond recognition. The chakra of Kurama healing him as he slept the night away. The last thought in his head being that he should ask the old man Hokage to enroll in the ninja academy. Minato Namikaze was thinking. He was really thinking. He was thinking about his son. He was really thinking about his son. He was thinking about his son's accomplishments. Naruto had to be an ANBU commander in strength alone by now, add Kyuubi's teachings to the mix, and he was easily Sannin level. He had asked the Sandaime about going to the academy, and had been enrolled. I've taught almost everything he can handle. Ah well, he's pretty strong for any mission right now. I can't wait to see his face when they assign him D-rank missions. The Yondaime laughed at that thought. Kurama looked over at him strangely. The Yondaime had been teaching the Kyuubi about ninja life. The Yondaime told Kurama what he had been thinking about. Both of them laughed this time. You shouldn't worry, Minato. He was taught by a Hokage and a demon lord. He has been taught stealth by a fox. The academy should be no trouble at all. Hey, I sensed Danzo's chakra at several occasions. Is there something going on? Danzo is a power-hungry guy, Kurama. Most likely he's trying to use Naruto. I know him and his cronies. All he wants is to rule whatever exists in the world. I'm not even sure if Root is disbanded yet. Anyways, I taught Naruto whatever I could about seals and he's a seal master now too. But just in case he does need it, I got a plan to let the Sandaime know that Naruto has been trained at home. Fortunately, that would suffice if things get out of hands and he uses jutsu that he doesn't know at this age. Or we can just blame it on your chakra. That effectively ended the conversation, and Kurama went to read a bit more about the puny mortals. That's it! The yondaime suddenly exclaimed, chakra, elemental chakra. That's what we haven't taught him yet. I haven't even told him about it. Hey, Kurama, tell you what? I'll train him that when he graduates. Hey, Minato, don't you think that it's too early to teach him all this? You do know that he is barely 11 and able to take on the Sannin in full-on combat. He might not be able to wield that power rightfully, what then? Kurama, I know that Naruto is young. I get that, but what about all the things that he will be facing as he grows older? The masked man who called himself Madara, Danzo, and the rest of the village that's out to get him. They won't care what age Naruto is and certainly will come for him when he's the most vulnerable. I really don't want to lose him, and I have to make him prepare for the time that they do come for him. I am not letting my son get hurt when I didn't train him when I could have. Anyways, turn on the TV. Naruto should wake up by now. They turned the TV on, and the yondaime sat at the couch, and the fox curled up next to him. They awoke to Naruto brushing his teeth and humming in front of the sink. The two extended their consciousness to join Naruto's. So, today is the day for your first academy class, kid. You better pay attention. I don't want my apprentice to become a failure. Naruto heard the voice, and if you were to be looking at Naruto closely, you would have seen no indication that he was surprised by the gruff voice. But you know, if you had done the same thing over the years, then you would have seen him getting used to the change gradually. That added to the fact that ninja had to be excellent deceivers completely explained how he was not a little bit surprised when there was talk in the back of his mind. Anyways, back to their conversation. Naruto did nothing but snort in front of the mirror, but his mind had a three-way conversation. Come on, furball, I'm Kage level already, Ninja Academy will be nothing for me. All I will get to do there is sleep. That's really helpful when my weights increase these days. I have to drag my butt off the bed to even stand. Why the hell did you have me put demonic chakra in there? That stuff is even more intense than my own and nearly weighs twice as much. The boy's father quickly interrupted the boy's complaining rant and reassured him quickly. Don't do that, Naruto. If Danzo, the elders, or the masked man got wind of your power, then you will surely be captured, used, or killed. I really don't want that happening to my son. And besides, the power is there only to protect yourself and the people you love. Remember, you are still 10 years old, have fun, make friends, enjoy your childhood. You know, Naruto, you won't have that fun when you're Hokage. Almost all you get to do is paperwork, and more paperwork. And Naruto, there will be people in your life that you can trust with your life and certainly this secret too. Try to find these people. They will be your own precious people, the ones that you protect with your own life. Sure, Dad, I get it. I may really hate the people of Konoha, but if they change their views on me and apologize, I won't take long to forgive. When Hokage, I will do my duty to my village. Protect it with my life, whatever it takes of me. You should know, Naruto, that I'm proud to call you my son. Naruto's heart swelled up with the praise, but the demon inside him interrupted. You do realize that you have to get to the academy, and you might be a little late because of talking and cooking instant ramen for the last 15 minutes. You should really hurry to the academy. Naruto swore, and ran as fast as a civilian stamina freak can without aching his muscles, which is to say really fast for a civilian. He barged in the classroom just as the roll call was being finished. Uzumaki Naruto? Here! He yelled cheerily and skidded to a halt in front of the teacher. The teacher sighed. I'm Yumino Irika and I will be teaching you this year to become ninja. Please take an empty seat. Naruto turned around and glanced at the curious faces of his new classmates. With that first glance, he could tell that there were only 8 people worth noticing. They were not impressively so, but compared to the rest of the class, they were better off. 2 of these 8 were sitting in the bottom row of classroom. The first one was a blonde girl in a purple t-shirt and a matching purple skirt. She was glancing behind her every once in a while. The second person was a boy with a white t-shirt and a green no-sleeved coat. He had spirals on his cheeks and was contentedly munching on a few potato chips. On the second row, there were 3 kids of particular interest. The first one was sitting lazily with his arms on the desk, a boy with his hair in a pineapple fashion and t-shirt over a fishnet. He had that intelligent gleam in his eyes, the same that Naruto had. They locked eyes. The boy found his match. Naruto nodded slightly. The boy nodded back. The boy with the cheek markings, Naruto assumed a Kimichi by what his dad taught him, looked curiously at the smart boy. Next to the smart boy was another boy in gray hoodie and a small puppy and slash markings on his cheek. He had been smiling lecherously at the girls in the room. Naruto assumed Inuzuka and pervert both. The next one was a girl in pink hair and makeup mostly. She wore a red t-shirt and also kept glancing behind her, her green eyes glaring daggers at the girl on the bottom row. Naruto's eyes slipped up to the next row with its 3 interesting occupants. The first one was a brooding boy in a blue t-shirt and a bored and arrogant expression. Kyuubi told that his chakra was one of the Uchiha. Okay, arrogant expression, definitely an Uchiha. His father agreed. The next was a boy with a gray overcoat and glasses. Naruto heard the buzz-off insects off him and Kurama confirmed it for him. It was definitely an Aburame. The last person was a shy, timid girl with short, dark blue hair. She wore a light blue sweater and was looking at him curiously. The biggest thing was her eyes. They were white with no pupils. His dad told him that it was a Hyuga. He smiled back at her, and she shied back a bit with a smile. Out of all the seats available, hers was the only one he chose, so he walked up the stairs and sat beside her. Iruka hid a smile and started the class. Alright, now, let's start by why all of you are here. You are here to become ninja to protect and preserve your village. It is the reason that you're here. You decided to go ahead and try to be the best you can. As for why all of you were chosen is because you met all the required conditions for being here in the academy. Those reasons are the follow. You love the village and hope to preserve peace and prosperity. You have a mind that won't yield and you are able to endure grueling hard work and training. You have a healthy mind and body. The class was listening attentively when they heard 2 snores. The first one was from the person who Naruto dubbed smart, and the other one was from Naruto himself. Both of you, wake up and listen! Iruka yelled at them from the front of the class. Come on Iruka, sensei, I already have to listen these lectures from old man Hokage, and it's not helping by hearing the same from you. Naruto muttered sleepily. That is not my problem Naruto, and you should show the Hokage some respect. Iruka yelled even more. The boy with the puppy and Naruto grimaced. Ouch Iruka, sensei, alright I'll listen. He perked up immediately. Iruka seemed satisfied and continued the lecture. Naruto though was thinking about something else entirely. The lecture continued on and Naruto's mind drifted elsewhere. When it was over, Iruka told the students to recess. Naruto extended his hand over to the person beside him, Naruto Uzumaki. The girl timidly raised her own hand and let out an eep when he gripped it tight and shook it. She reddened her fair skin and let out a shaky Hinata Hyuga. Naruto, acting dumb, asked her, Did I squeeze too hard or something? Are you okay? Your face is red and everything. Hinata blushed again. She reprimanded herself on making her first friend worry about her. She shook her head and started. No, Naruto-kun, it's alright, it's nothing you did. Don't worry about it. Naruto saw the smart boy and the boy with the spirals on his cheeks coming towards them. Then there were a small amount of handshakes and introductions and the 4 of them quickly became friends. Naruto then saw the Aburame sitting alone in a corner and approached him with his friends trailing behind. He sat beside him and extended his hand once more. The Aburame gripped after hesitation. Shino Aburame. Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata Hyuga. Shikamaru Nara. Choji Akimichi. Shino looked hesitantly at them. They didn't know of the insects in his body, but if he told them, he might lose his first friends, but he didn't want false friends either. Therefore he decided to tell them about the insects in his body. When he laid out the news to them all, they just laughed it off and said who cared. Shino then decided that these were his new true friends. Naruto then caught Shikamaru's eye and gestured to their group. Shikamaru understood and laughed alongside Naruto. The rest of them looked at the both curiously. Naruto started explaining. You know what, guys? From what we know about each other, I can tell that all of us are some kind of outcasts. I mean, Shikamaru isn't wanted because of his laziness, Choji isn't wanted because of his clan relations and what he eats, and Shino isn't wanted because of the insects in his body, Hinata isn't wanted because what her clan thinks of her, and I am not. He stopped and got serious all of a sudden. I know Naruto isn't wanted because my clan told me to stay away from him. Hinata voiced quietly. Naruto laughed. Wow, Hinata-chan, that's a slap your clan's face already. Hinata blushed at the praise. That is correct, and my insects were also wary of you when you first entered the classroom, and we wished to know why you are not accepted. Me too, Naruto. Whenever I see you at Ichiraku's, the people in the village seem barely able to control not to hit you all the time. It's actually way worse than the rest of us. Choji also told him. Naruto sighed. Guys, before I tell you what it is, you need to know more about something. You will gradually know what that is. The day you know the something, that is the day I will tell what you need to know. But for now, you guys just need to be patient, alright? The others nodded. Naruto continued, That said, I just thought of the perfect prank to introduce the outcasts to Konoha. What do you say, guys? All of them nodded, some more reluctantly than others, but they all agreed. Alright then, Shikamaru is our planner along with me. Choji, gather all the vegetable oil you can without getting noticed. Shino, place a bug in all of the civilian homes that you can manage while going home. Hinata, you are to be scouting around with your Byakugan and see that we don't get noticed. And we all initiate the plan tonight. Hinata, you have to get out of your house tonight, good luck with that. Or I can help you out? Hinata blushed and said that she can manage. Naruto bantered on, alright, the prank is to let the civilians in the village know how much their butt likes their sidewalk. I and Shikamaru work out all the technicalities. All of us meet tonight at the park at 10. If you aren't there in the 15 minutes that follow, you are assumed to be compromised and cannot participate in the operation. I am leading this prank. Biggest of all, remember, this is all top secret. Treat it that way. Oh, and guys? I'm only taking off the idiot mask in front of you guys, keep that in mind and act normal when I don't act smart. Oh, and I really suggest all of you study hard. You have the permission to hide it, but you better have that information in your head. Oh, and no one beside ourselves is supposed to know about your improvements. Once you know my secret, I will start to train all of you personally. Now continue on with your life just like you found 4 new friends, which you did. Meeting adjourned. The rest of them were gaping at him now but nodded once they gained their bearings. They waited for the bell to ring with some small talk about them. Once it did, they went back to class and acted normal, though they had a few slips, they weren't perfect after all. If you were a citizen of the mighty village of Konoha, and you stayed up to 10:00 in the park, you might have seen the soon-to-be-famous The Outcasts gathered there. But there just wasn't a citizen there to witness it. No, not even you. But there was a meeting there in case you were wondering. Outcasts? That was a whisper that emanated exactly at 10:15 p.m. There was no one there yet the whisper was carried on by the wind, leader reporting. And more surprisingly, there were replies. Strategist reporting then there was a sigh and something sounding like troublesome. Mapper reporting then a slight buzzing if you listen really close. Ayano, Scout reporting then a sigh and fast breathing. Gatherer reporting then there was ruffling paper and munching. After that there was nothing at all, then the sources of the 5 noises came out of the bushes. There were 4 boys and 1 girl. All of them were dressed in black. They waited as if someone was going to spring at them at any point of time. Then after a few minutes they relaxed. Hey Choji, do you have the oil? One of them asked. Right here, Naruto. Another one replied and showed a gourd to the rest of the people. Right then Shino, track all your bugs down and tell Hinata where they are. Hinata, we need to cover as many roads as we can and you have to make sure that we don't get discovered, okay? Alright, came the reply from the girl figure. And then, Choji, you come up behind us all and spread the oil as wide as you can on the road. If you get to your own houses, spread the oil there too to avoid suspicion. Hinata and Shino are leading. Is everyone ready? Once there was a chorus of hi-us, the 5 people set out to do the task that was set out for them. So, that was the procession that came down the roads of Konoha, the first night of the Outcasts in action. Those were the 5 people trailing down the roads of Konoha. The ones at the front keeping a keen eye for where they were going, the ones in the middle supervising that all was done correctly, and the one in the back walking backwards and spraying from the gourd that he was carrying. They continued on until the one at the end whispered out. Hey Naruto, my oil is almost finished. The person in the middle acknowledged him with a nod. Okay Choji. Hey Hinata and Shino, how much distance is left? Not much, Naruto-kun. We're almost done, just 2 blocks left. Alright Choji, use all the oil you have. Shino, call back your insects and guys, let's finish up and go home. There were nods, and after the spraying slowed down to a stop, they said their goodbyes and went home to peacefully sleep the night away. Needless to say, they all laughed when Choji turned around and slipped on the oil he had just sprayed down. Then they all went home chuckling to themselves, Choji a little embarrassed, but still chuckling at his own expense. The next day, almost everyone in the class was late except the 5 who knew another way to the academy than the one they had sprayed with oil just last night. They all laughed when dirty looks were shot at them by almost everyone whose some part of body was wet with oil or bruised by someone colliding into them, thanks to the same oil. When Iruka came into the classroom, Naruto said to his friends that he had heard of students being late, but this was the first time he had seen a teacher being late instead. They all laughed again and dirty looks were shot at them, which only made them laugh harder. That and everything continued on for the rest of the day. And like that they were the closest friends many at the academy had ever seen. But then 6 months and lots of pranks later, there came a day when it was time to let the cat out of the bag. Alright everyone, today we will be discussing one of the biggest incidents in the history of Konoha. It happened only 11 years ago too. It was the time when the Kyuubi attacked our village and the Honorable 4th Hokage gave his life to kill the demon. All honor the memory the fourth Hokage as our hero. He saved us all from the Kyuubi. Alright, that was all that happened 11 years when Konoha was destroyed and birthed into an even better village than it was before. That's all for now. You all can go out for recess, and I want you all back in an hour to continue the study of Yondaime. Naruto sighed. It is time, he thought, time to let the fox out of the bag. He got up, looked around to be unnoticed, and then tapped small rhythm on the desk. 4 others in the room casted their glances around the room, and repeated the same rhythm that he had done before. He looked around again and watched for any gazes upon him. When he felt none, he walked casually out the door and to the old swing at the back of the academy near the forest. He sat down near it and looked up at the clouds. He wasn't there for 3 whole minutes that he was joined by the other members of his notorious organization. One of them took out a big box and set out the food that was in it to everyone else. That person was Hinata Hyuga. She did this every day. She had done this for the past 6 months that she had been friends with the 4 people currently surrounding them. A lot of people had asked her why she was doing this. Mostly those people were either Ino Yamanaka or Sakura Haruno. They had asked her why she didn't bring lunch for their Sasuke-kun. She had scoffed, and told them flat out she didn't care one bit about the arrogant toe rag that he was. Their gaping faces and Naruto's proud smile had made it worth the step out of her timid composure, and the bad word that she had said. The 2 banshees hadn't bothered her after that. Now, she sat here sharing her lunch with her first friends. After about 15 minutes, they had all finished their lunches and were waiting for Naruto to state why he had called their meeting. After a while, Naruto sighed, and then he opened his mouth. Alright, I can safely assume that all of you are wondering as to why I called this meeting today. There were several nods at that. He sighed again. Hinata, could you do the scan of our vicinity to see if we have anyone that might be where they shouldn't be right now? Hinata nodded and turned Hibiakugan on. She sat there for a few seconds then turned it off. None, she replied. Naruto acknowledged her. He continued, so, do you all remember when you asked me why I am shunned and hated above all in this village? More nods were seen. Well, I think it's about time I told you why. Gasps were heard now. Yep. And it all has to do with the lesson we got just today. You see, that lesson is not entirely true. The Kyuubi is a demon lord. The Yondaime is a human ninja. No ninja, however powerful, can kill a demon lord the power of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Instead, the Yondaime did whatever he could in his power to protect this village. In this case, it was to seal the demon away. Now, the demon that degree of power cannot just be sealed in a jar or a basket or any other object. They cannot contain its power. The only other option was humans. Someone with developed chakra coils cannot house another set in their body. So now the only choice was someone with undeveloped chakra coils. In short, a baby with their umbilical cord cut freshly. Now you may or may not know this, but my birthday is October 31st. The day Kyuubi attacked this village. The day when the Yondaime sacrificed himself in order to seal away a demon. It was the day the Kyuubi was sealed into me. There was silence then, but their eyes told a different story. Naruto's cerulean eyes now showed all the hate and anger he had endured before he was even 6 years old. Hinata had seen the pain in his eyes and was aware how easy she had it compared to him. She leaned over and hugged him. She was a reasonable person. When she had seen how he actually failed and just rebounded back harder than ever, she admired him. When she saw the leadership and authority in him as the leader of the outcasts, she admired him. For the kindness and compassion he had shown while being her friend, she admired him. Now, when she heard how much he had endured and still remained jovial, she realized that she might just like him. Naruto looked over at Choji. The plump boy looked at him plainly. I have been ridiculed all my life for being fat. Now I know that one of my best friends has been given the same treatment tenfold. I am honored to be your friend. Naruto was smiling by now. Shikamaru sighed. This might be troublesome, but I suppose I have to give a friend something good, so here it is. I have known you for 7 months and have not once seen anything even closely related to Kyuubi in your behavior. Therefore it is fully logical that you are the jailer, not the prisoner instead. Naruto gave the lazy ass a mocking bow. You did not care about the bugs in my body, and I do not care about the fox in yours. That was all Shino said, but his words had a deeper meaning that Naruto understood. They were saying that they were his true friends, his precious people. He now realized what the will of fire was all about. Naruto wiped some stray tears from his eyes and grinned widely. The solemn mood over the clearing a moment ago was gone instantly. Instead replaced by a comfortable atmosphere that they were all familiar with from their days past. Now that that secret is out, I think you guys are ready for the next one. Hey wait, how would you all like to meet the Kyuubi? All of the others gaped at him. What happened, guys? It's like I asked you all to meet the Kyuubi or something. Heh, lame joke, I know. But I'm serious about this. Shino was the first to recover, closely followed by Hinata and Shikamaru. Choji was shook out of it by Shikamaru. I mean, he's still behind bars and it'll be a great chance to see it up close. Don't worry, I'm here, he won't hurt you. Naruto could see the fear and apprehensiveness in their eyes, but he knew they trusted him would give their life to save him, as he would do the same. Slowly, the curiosity of seeing the great beast up close got to them, and they nodded. Naruto continued, Alright, I will need some time to prepare the necessary materials for this. I'll see you all at my apartment in a week's time. Remember, don't tell anyone what you heard today. And if I'm not mistaken, the bell will ring in a few minutes. Do whatever until then, but don't mention this conversation any time between now and at my apartment next week. Naruto stopped and looked at all of them seriously. They nodded solemnly. Just then, the bell rang again and they got back to class gradually. That day, Naruto heard some students in the class mutter about how his little group had a far-off look in their eyes. Naruto and his tenants mused. They certainly had the right to be thinking about it. That week, almost none of them had their minds in anything they did. Hinata was constantly chastised by her father about how she constantly failed in her duties. The others didn't fare any better either. Naruto was also talking with Kyuubi on how they were going to present themselves. Kit, I say I pretend to hate all of you and we tell them the truth when you're all older and you can understand more. Come on, Kurama, they are my best friends. They won't betray me ever. His dad intervened, Naruto, even if you have a good amount of power, you're still a kid. You need to listen to adults. But they need to be strong too, Dad. He whined. Minato Namikaze chuckled, how about a deal, Naruto? We tell them that the Kyuubi is a vile beast but you got some of his memories and you have been training to the bone until now. You can train them like that and when you all are older, we'll tell them the truth. Deal? Naruto sighed. Man, I have no choice in this, he thought grimly, it's really not fair. Alright, Dad? Don't worry about it, Naruto, we'll tell them in a few years. And you know, I have some really good gifts for you when you graduate. Naruto's mood changed faster than the Hiraishin. Can you at least tell me, Dad? Please? 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 Come on. The yandame just smirked and shook his head. Naruto pouted. Kurama laughed at the display before him and cursed the fact that he was a part of the 10 tails. Otherwise, he actually might have lived like a normal fox and have had a family. He cleared his throat to get the attention of the occupants of the mind of one unique Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. In one fine morning in the city of Konohagakure no Sato, Naruto sat on his futon, the 4 of his best friends were before him, and you could fully feel tension and the nervousness in the air in his tiny place. They had told they would come ready, and they were too, to an extent. As he prepared for the jutsu he was doing the seals slowly, for 2 big reasons. First was that he obviously not let his friends know his strength as much as he wanted to. The second was that he really hadn't practiced it that many times to completely do the hand signs in the blink of an eyeball. Munch. 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 Choji was clearly excited for this, the beast behind bars and the most trustworthy friend in the whole world here. According to his optimistic self, nothing could go wrong while they were in the belly of the beast, or in this case, the belly holding the beast. As Naruto's hands were weaving the hand signs, Hinata was nowhere near the apartment, actually. Her body was still there, mind you. Instead, she was wandering through her own memories. She was clear in thought. She liked Naruto. There was no denying it, but it was quickly becoming obsessive. She was thinking of him now too, the time when she was about to see the most dangerous creature on the world, she was thinking of him. Stop it, her outcast and Hyuga sides told her. This behavior is not befitting one of such position as you. She sighed mentally. This little crush was growing by crazy leaps and bounds. It was all she could do to keep control of herself, and not be the obvious buffoon she would be around Naruto. His lessons while outcasts helped too, they helped a lot. All the while Hinata was thinking about her Naruto, Shikamaru knew that there were more than a dozen ways that this situation could be wrong. He trusted Naruto on this. But that didn't mean that mistakes couldn't happen. He knew that Naruto had taken every precaution he could. After all, Naruto was about as smart as him. It was what he would do. He realized he didn't have to worry anymore. Besides, worry was stress and he didn't need any more stress than his own mother. Leaving everyone else to their thoughts, Shino all the while was conversing with his bugs and telling them that they won't be in any danger from this at all. They were safe. Naruto finished his hand signs. He let his left hand drop under his shirt, and it touches the seal, while he extended his right towards them and unraveled 4 of his fingers from a fist. Alright guys, I'm ready. Just touch your foreheads to my fingers and don't freak out if you arrive in a sewer. If you do not arrive in the said sewer, well, you are pretty welcome to freak out any time you want. Naruto explained with calm. The others nodded obediently, and leaned forward to do as told. Next thing they knew was lying in shallow water. They all got up to see Naruto already there. As he predicted, they were in some kind of sewer. Only this sewer was about 15 times the size of a normal sewer, and seemingly endless on one side and a large cage on the other. When they all got up, Naruto beckoned them all with a hand and they followed him, curiously looking at whatever they could. They stopped in front of the cage. They stared at it, enraptured. Naruto pointed them to a piece of paper in front of them and chuckled. Do you know, guys, that I can destroy all of Konoha just by pulling that one little piece of paper? They all gaped at him. Just then, a deep laugh rumbled and they froze in fear, knowing who was here except the 5 of them. The kid has a point, you know. All he has to do is pull the tag there and I will be free, though destroying the village is no use to me. Come on, Runt, pull it off and no one in your pathetic village will be harmed. Come on, pull it off. Their eyes went wide as a massive orange wall filled their view. They backed up in fear but then saw the amused look that Naruto had and, reassured, allowed their eyes to settle upon the massive entity. It was covered in orange fur and had 9 long swishing tails behind it. It was the beast known as the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Naruto spoke then, come on Furball, is that all today? Last time you had a death threat to rip off mine and my friends' heads and mount them on your neck as trophies. And what now, try and hurt us now? Huh? Come on, try it. I dare ya! The fox growled and Naruto laughed in its face. The massive fox raised its head into the air and started gathering chakra, and a black ball started floating there. He forced it down his mouth, pointed in their direction, and let loose. They were all frozen at the sight and the feeling of such massive chakra and killing intent. They started clawing at their throats to force the suddenly thick air. All except Naruto, that is. He saw their discomfort, glared at the fox, and released the jutsu. The 4 passengers that Naruto was using the jutsu on suddenly found themselves fully capable to breathe again, and fell on their asses at the near death that they could all have had just now. And eat from a certain Hyuga later, they all got up and tried to regain their bearings. Finally, Shikamaru croaked out, Naruto, bro, whatever you do, please don't take us with you when you plan on insulting nine-tailed immortal beasts. Man, this is so troublesome. Naruto laughed sheepishly at their glare for a few seconds, but after some time, they all cracked up and were laughing and rolling on the floor of his apartment. When their tears stopped, stomachs started aching, they finally calmed down. Naruto looked at the small clock at his bedside. Apparently, time did pass while they were in his mind. Only, not as fast. They were in there for about 15 minutes, seeing the sights and insulting Kurama, which earned him a laugh from the fox, and a comment on how their faces looked at seeing him. Naruto also snickered silently. The drop on the ass part was the best one. 15 minutes and there was only 15 seconds in real life. Cool. Then he glanced at his best of friends and the members of his organization. They need some time to deal with this, he thought. Wow, you know, that was crazy, but guys, they had his full attention now. I know that you might not think so, but you need some time to digest the information and deal with accepting it. You should go home and rest and think about this stuff. A babble of protests greeted his words, but he raised his hands and it died down immediately. Guys, what you just saw and felt could have killed an ordinary civilian. You really need the rest. And besides, if you do so and show up at the meeting in a week and half's time, I might actually consider going through and doing the new prank I planned. They had their orders now, and it was time for them to start following them. They gloomily said their goodbyes, the eagerness for the new day and a new prank cheering them up a little. The rest of the day went unexciting for Naruto, except for the bickering he got on with Fox inside him. He kept yelling at Kurama for scaring his friends too much, while the Kyuubi kept yelling about his reputation as a demon lord. But still, needlessly to say, the other members of the outcasts were quite distracted and got a hell of a beating when they were training. The next day in the academy, they were mainly studying about Kenjutsu and resting from the beating at training yesterday. At lunch, Kiba had enough of goggling girls from afar and wanted to land one for him. He went for the apparently weakest girl in the class, Hinata Hyuga. He sauntered over to her with a lecherous grin on his face and started hitting on her. Naruto and the others saw this. All of the others started towards the Inuzuka, but Naruto raised a hand and they stopped. Then he himself walked over to the calm Hinata, who was ignoring all of Kiba's attempts. Hey, Kiba! He casually interrupted. Kiba turned to face him and snarled at him. What is it, you pathetic baka? Nothing, Naruto replied coolly. I'm just saying that you are bothering my friend and should stop real soon. Hinata was still standing there with the emotionless mask on her. Kiba sneered and poked him in the chest. And what will you do if I don't? You are a weak baka, Naruto, and you can't do anything to possibly stop me. You and your cronies don't stand a chance against me and Akamaru. Naruto chuckled. Kiba. TSK. Come on, man. Leave her alone and you won't be paid a visit by the outcasts. Kiba openly laughed hysterically. You? Connected to the outcasts? Oh, don't make die with laughter. Someone cool like them won't even look twice at a midget weakling like you. They play the best pranks in Konoha. Not like you attention-seeking pathetic attempts at pranking. He was sneering now. Naruto just chuckled. Whatever you say, Kiba, I'm telling the truth and you just uttered a challenge to my associated group. For the next whole month, you will be paid regular visits by my associates. If you want it to stop, just tell me and I will tell you how. Now, I believe my friend doesn't appreciate your company. That little episode left everyone shocked at how mannerfully the usually obnoxious brat had spoken. Most of the girls were over it when their god of every little thing Uchiha snorted, their attention instantly diverted. Kiba was slightly unnerved when Naruto took Hinata to their group's usual spot, but his pride instantly flung away the thought. He couldn't have been connected to the outsiders, he thought, could he? Anyways, the rest of the lunch went quietly, and when the lunch bell rang, the tension was gone and things were peaceful once more. Inside Naruto, though, for some reason, he had felt boiling rage and was about to pummel Kiba before being reminded of his strength. So, he, right now, was walking in 32 times his own weight. Man, at his level, he could pummel 5 jonin all at once and come out with non-lethal wounds. Again, his tenants chuckled ruefully for some reason. This always happened when he had brought up his power level. When he had tried to listen in to their conversations, he had heard a snippet of Diran before being forcefully chucked out. He couldn't figure it out, and he always went lightheaded when he thought about, like now, as he gripped his desk to steady himself. What was the big secret anyways? He remembered one of the conversations about this topic. Flashback. They had put some conjured sofas near Kurama's cage for Naruto to be easier to talk to the beast. Naruto was protesting to them about why they always laughed about it when he mentioned his strength. Come on guys, tell me the truth, he whined, why the hell are always laughing about my strength? Minato answered, in an innocent tone only Kurama, Kushina and Naruto could truly recognize as mischievous. Naruto, we just laugh at the enemies that get in your way. Aren't we even allowed to do that? Naruto shouted back at him. Like hell you are, Dad. And I know it's not about the enemies that you laugh so much. Come on, spill, please. Kurama interrupted, hey, puny mortals, listen here and I tell you the final word on this. Naruto, if you stop asking about it now, I will tell you. I'll stop, I promise I'll stop. He interrupted without thinking, eager on hearing the information. After graduation from the academy, he finished smugly. What he deadpanned and fell onto the murky water. Kurama smugly continued, unfazed, and now that you've agreed to the terms, you can't ask us about it anymore. Minato laughed at the way that Naruto had been tricked by the fox. First, bait him with information, reel him in with a few sweet words, and then make him so eager to hear it that he'll be licking your boots by the time that he realizes that he has been tricked. Yep, foxes were definitely the top-class tricksters. Moreover, a demon fox with several millennia of information, nearly impossible to escape. Naruto sputtered with rage and waved his fist angrily at the fox, to which the fox laughed in his face, only making him angrier. Just you wait for a ball, one of these days I'm going to find something to hang you upside down with your tails. I'm going to enjoy it when you scream and rage in your cage. Angry at the fox, he had backed out of his mind from the meditative state at his house. Hearing laughter at the back of his head, he took out his anger on the lone chair in front of him, reducing it to pieces. Still hearing the laughter, he began to walk to his special clearing in the forest of death to cool off with a few raisingans and Hirations while destroying nature's worst trees born to the world. End flashback. Anyways, as he listened to Irika drone on and on about what his father had taught him already, he thought about what he would do if he actually beat Akatsuki and the masked man. He realized that he actually wanted a family more than being Hokage, which was reasonable before Hinata's face popped into his daydreams and he blushed. He immediately reprimanded himself. She was a Hyuga, known as almost close to royalty here in Konoha, while he was an orphan with a beast inside him. No offense, Kurama. He sent. None taken, came the reply. He sighed, and sneaked a glance at the only female in his little group of his. Then he thought about Kiba had just issued a challenge to them. He smirked at that. It seemed that the outcast finally had a target to prank. He didn't think that dog boy would last that long, probably a day or two, then he would be begging Naruto for forgiveness. And Naruto would make him suffer every second that Hinata had took his comments by him. He gave a feral grin. There were things that a person could learn from a demon fox inside them, dangerous and mentally lethal things to be specific. He was sure that he could join Ibiki and Anko in one of their interrogation sessions and actually help generously to the sadistic duo. After 2 more hours of boring droning, he cornered his friends after school and told them to meet at their standard spot in the park at 10 o'clock precise. They all nodded and went their ways for the day. Naruto, as usual, began, As you noticed today, Kiba did something that he shouldn't have. He insulted one of the outcasts, and we're going to show him the error of his ways. None of you can participate in actual prank as the Inuzuka can sniff a fly a mile. I can use its information to conceal my scent and do the actual thing. All of you will only end up exposing us, and I don't want that to happen just yet. They reluctantly nodded, holding back their complaints. They almost went crazy realizing how right he was, as always. But they still wanted to be included in some way. Fortunately, I still need materials, and I can mask the scent on them. All you need to do is get some good stuff you want Kiba to suffer with. They cheered up a bit and nodded, already having ideas for how they wanted the child pervert to suffer for picking on Hinata. Naruto, on the other hand, had been completely sucked into his speech. You don't have to worry about tonight, I'll just use our standard modified explosive tags, paint and a genjutsu. You all can go home today and sleep well. They nodded and departed. He went to get the tags he was talking about. They had developed the idea soon after they had started their pranks on the village. Before, Naruto had pulled pranks because he wanted attention, someone to recognize him. Now, all of them pulled pranks because of two different reasons. One of them was for fun, and the second, even if he didn't want to admit it, was because he liked to see the village pay for the treatment they had given him when he was a mere 6-year-old child. Now, the main reason for Kiba was different. He had felt a deep anger when Kiba had started hitting on Hinata. He had wanted to make him suffer in the worst possible way, but because of training given to him by Kurama and his dad, he controlled his emotions and appeared to be surprised rather than angry, even though he was seething inside. Now he was pleased. No one can stop him from giving Kiba what he deserved. Thankfully, these thoughts could not be heard by his two tenants. This had been possible through extreme meditation and some embarrassing thoughts. He could build a mental barrier that gave him some privacy from his own dad. Somewhat normal, right? Time for the pranks to begin, he thought, satisfactorily. Let's see how much time Kiba can endure. Day 1. Kiba came to the academy colored pink and he didn't even notice. He glared at Naruto when he couldn't get the paint off after being told by Iruka. He had to go home before the lessons even began. When he did get home, he got spooked by a card on his bed. It said the outcasts begin war. He tried to get a scent of the paper but strangely couldn't. He couldn't tell his parents or his sister either, as they would know that he was bothering people and air other stuff. He just gave up and realized he had to live with this for the next month. Damn it, he couldn't skip school either or his family would find out and the baka would be telling everyone that he was a coward. Day 2. Kiba first checked for genjutsu on him. When nothing came up, he went to the academy as normal. At the academy, some of the students laughed at him and teased him about it, but he just ignored them. After some time, Kiba got a big stomach ache. He asked to be excused to go to the restroom. This came as no surprise to Iruka as a lot of the students had something or the other and had been excused just some time ago. Why, Naruto was excused just a minute ago. Kiba got up, walked to the restrooms, checked which one was for males and barged in like he owned the place, to which he was greeted by a few females, all who assumed he was here as a pervert. At the Inuzuka compound in the evening, Hana Inuzuka asked her younger brother how he got all those bruises, to which he answered that he got in a fight with one of the academy students. Nothing to worry about. Day 3. The next day, Dogboy had had enough. When he found writing on about every part of his body, and his familiar colored and embarrassing purple, he realized that the dead last could not sneak into the Inuzuka compound without being noticed. It had to be the outcasts. That baka had somehow been buddies with the coolest group in the village. No one in their right minds would want to be enemies with that lot. He had to apologize, and fast. And he didn't know how to get the ink off his body. No one wanted to walk around town with "I'm a pervert" written on them. He had to apologize to the baka, no matter what. So he went to academy like normal, and got laughed at by the students and scolded and pitted by the teachers. He went straight to Naruto's little band. Sorry. He apologized. Our favorite blonde turned around, formed the hushed whispers to look at the visitor. The other four turned too. Then they laughed, all of them. Kiba waited not so impatiently. When they finally regained their bearings, Naruto chuckled once more and choked out a few words. Oh hey Kiba, what's up? The mentioned boy gritted his teeth. Hitting Naruto wouldn't stop the pranks. I said I'm sorry for earlier. Naruto immediately turned serious. He said nothing but raised his eyebrows and nodded a bit to his left. Kiba glanced in the direction and saw the shy girl that he had been hitting on a few days earlier. He got the hint. Sorry, Hinata. She smiled tentatively at him. He was forgiven, thank Kami. Not so fast, Kiba. Hinata might have forgiven you, Naruto interrupted his train of thought, but you also insulted me too. And no one messes with Uzumaki Naruto and gets away with it. So, you have to pay the price. He searched his pockets for a minute and handed him a piece of paper. Read that paper in front of the whole class when Irika-sensei comes in. That's the key to stop the pranks. I'll tell my associates that you have learned your lesson. Truthfully, Kiba was a bit peeved by the way Naruto spoke. Usually the idiot was loud, brash, and annoying. He had never seen Naruto act this way. Who was he to care? He would get the pranks off his back. Let's get this over with, he steeled himself. So, when Irika walked into the room and prepared his daily speech, he was really surprised when the Inuzuka from his class stepped forward and asked if he was allowed to make a small announcement. He nodded dumbly to the request and walked to the side wall to see the drama unfold. Kiba stepped forward and into the attention of the curious students who had seen him get the stage, so to speak. Students of the Ninja Academy of Konoha, I, Kiba Inuzuka, hereby formally apologize for any and all inconveniences or trouble I may have caused in the past. I also promise all of you that I will do my best to refrain from such behavior in the future. Thank you for your time, and again, I apologize for what I did. He finally looked up at the class after making the small speech. They were silent, the whole class, and yes, I mean the banshees too. They were all silent for that 1 second before they all laughed. But they all stopped too when they realized that he was serious. Then they all shrugged, but Kiba didn't care what the rest of the class did. His eyes were on one person only, and when that person gave a nod, he felt the strangest urge to follow that person on whatever they told him. That urge was quickly suppressed, but he couldn't help wondering on how he felt like this when his mother gave him orders. But who cared now? He was free of the pranks. The catcalls of his classmates would eventually stop. He did, though, feel that the outcasts weren't as cool as he had first thought, especially when they were against him. Irika intervened in his thoughts. All right, Kiba, I'm happy that you took responsibility for your actions, but may I ask what brought on the change? He had asked with mild curiosity. Kiba sighed. Naruto has connections, was all he said before walking away. Irika was shocked for a moment before a proud grin filled his face. He finished his lessons for the day and saw Naruto and his friends moving out of the classroom, chatting animatedly. He waved them over. Hey Naruto, he asked for about the 20th time this year, how would you and your friends like to have ramen today with me? His favorite students grinned back. Anyways, you should have seen the look on the guy's face. It was priceless. He totally didn't see that coming. I'm telling you. That was how we found our Jinchuriki blonde chatting with his friends on one June evening, sitting under a tree. You see, this was the end of the childhood year that the blonde had enjoyed the most. The time where they would see the real world. But he didn't want to think of this as he sat down for lunch and talked to his best friends. Almost all of their lunches went like this. One of them usually had some story to tell. Naruto's included random pranks out of the outcasts group. Hinata had stories of the clan members and hard training. Shino told them of his various bugs and the wonders he could do by using them. Shikamaru ranted about how his mother was the worst control freak of the world. Choji had stories to do with, obviously, food. And the days went on. Occasionally, they would have ramen with their Irika-sensei. This was the best part, and the one that Naruto enjoyed the most. Yumino Irika had become like a brother to him now. So, when the lunch ended, they weren't surprised when Naruto's brother-like teacher told them that the graduation exams were happening next week. Naruto was pleasant now, despite the fact that he could be separated from his friends. He was in a good mood. He had good idea of what to expect in the exams since there were only a small amount of things taught in the academy. He would pass. He would probably be the worst one in the class, but that didn't matter. He would do okay and pass. He would have to pull this off masterfully though. He smirked, though it faded pretty quickly as got to thinking the hardest part. Hinata, Shino, Shikamaru, and Choji were the best friends anyone could possibly ask for. He would miss them. He knew how the teams were assigned, courtesy of his former Hokage dad. He smiled. When he was 5 or 6, if anyone told him that his dad was the 4th Hokage, he would laugh and tell them that it was the best thing anyone had said to him. Now, he would probably think how much the person knew, how he could be taken down quickly, the exit routes at his location, and so on. He sighed. Thanks again to the mentioned Hokage and a certain nine-tailed beast, they had trained him vigorously for the past 6 years. He now had big capability of taking down any ninja in the whole world if they came at him alone. The only problem was how he used his strength to play at his advantage. He was a child, a strong child, but nevertheless still a child. He had intricate knowledge of many of the ninja arts, and at least moderate of the others, but he was still a child. He had yet to see the real world and the horrors that awaited him. He had a goal, a quest even for peace. He would get what all others had not found, true peace. A world where all could exist, no conflicts, no wars, just peace, except for the occasional prank, of course. But before all that could happen, he had to grow. Not physically, no, the only growth was mental, the body just changed with the course of time. He had to leave childhood eventually and kill and maim in the name of justice. Even if it was justice, it was still killing, wasn't it? He just wanted to be rid of that fruitless slaughtering. If anyone had to die, they would die old lying on their beds with their loved ones around them, telling him good luck on their next life and that they would miss them. Was that impossible? No, it wasn't. But it was difficult, and that was his true goal. To someday attain the peace that had been denied for the generations before. It was a dream that he had inherited from his father, and he was the one that was going to make it true, know what. But anyway, being the dead last in the class had its disadvantages, but this was the absolute worst. He knew that the teams were decided to be balanced out. The strongest of the class get paired up with the weakest of the class. That meant that he was going to be paired up with Emo Face and Pink Banshee. He could have paired with Anata-chan, but he didn't want to force her to do better on his account. Drat his luck. On the other end, he was thinking of which sensei he would get, hopefully not any perverts, because having two in his own body was enough. He still had nightmares of the time that he had found an orange-covered book in the sewer before the cage. It was burnt before he finished the first page. And then he had to take a cold shower. Now, he was waiting in line for his test, ignoring the screeching banshees behind him and the smirk of a certain emo face with a headband on his forehead. He had seen all his friends get their headbands. It would be so fun when he got his too and joined them, especially well when the parents heard of the demon being a ninja. The looks on their faces would be nectar to him. But his thoughts were interrupted. Naruto Uzumaki. He grinned and walked into the small side room, closing the door behind him, unknowing to what was going to be happening there. As Naruto walked inside, the biggest thing he noticed was how bland the room was. There was a table and a few chairs for the instructors, but other than that, the room was empty. But then, he supposed not everything in the ninja world could be flashy and stunning, like him. You wish. The fox inside him snorted. Like you're any better, furball. Naruto retorted, but for the millionth time, none of his movements indicating what he had thought or the conversation in his head. Then he actually spoke. Hey Iruka-sensei, what's up? Haven't seen you today. Are you alright? Iruka smiled at the boy's enthusiasm and replied kindly, Hey Naruto, so, you ready for the exams? I want to pass, okay? Naruto smiled back, Don't you worry, sensei, by the end of the exams, I'll have your mouths open and eyes wide. Iruka laughed and turned to the person beside him, Mizuki. He asked him if he was ready to begin the exam, and the co-instructor nodded silently. Okay Naruto, Iruka began, this test consists of two parts, the genjutsu portion and the ninjutsu portion. The written and the taijutsu portion a few days ago counts as your other marks, so, because you didn't do much good in those portions, I really want you to try and do this one good to pass. Got it? Naruto nodded. Alright then, let's begin the genjutsu portion of the exam. For this, I need you to successfully dispel a genjutsu cast by either me or Mizuki here. Remember, to stop the genjutsu, stop the chakra flow in your body and apply an even stronger surge of chakra flow back again. Try your best to shake ours off, okay? Naruto nodded and Iruka cast the genjutsu on the boy. Then, Iruka watched as Naruto looked around and tried to do as he had told him, but to no avail. Then he watched as if suddenly Naruto had an idea. Naruto started to mutter to himself. Iruka caught the word stop, flow, and surge before the genjutsu was dissipated off of him. Iruka smiled at Naruto's smirk. Maybe it wouldn't end badly now. Naruto did shake off the jutsu, though he wasn't really that good in genjutsu in the first place. But he still had to cast it in order to pass the actual exam. Now, he was happy at the fact that Naruto could do this, yet apprehensive of what awaited now. Okay Naruto. You did well. Now you only need to cast a genjutsu at the both of us to pass. Let's go. Naruto nodded and concentrated, tried to successfully cast the illusion at them. Then he watched Naruto struggle a bit under the task. He saw a slight haze in his vision and felt his chakra system shake, but nothing happened. He felt dread. Naruto had never been good with genjutsu. How could he pass now? It was a miracle that Naruto had dispelled the illusion in the first place. Then his ramblings were cut off when his coworker spoke. Naruto, you don't have much practice in this field of jutsu. Iruka felt clawing at his throat, but you still have good room to improve, and you only need a bit more practice to fully do this, and you would have plenty of time between your missions, eh? So I say you pass, and your supposed Nai-san here would have to approve before we move on to the next test. So, what do you say, Iruka? Iruka was in a dilemma now. There were his duties as a teacher, and on the other end, it was Naruto's happiness. There was the risk of injury on him, and then he wouldn't get stronger if he was discouraged. Oh heck with it. The boy deserved some happiness in his life. Besides, Mizuki was right, wasn't he? Who was he to deny? I agree with Mizuki, Naruto. You passed the Genjutsu test. His speech was cut short when the boy started doing some sort of victory dance. He heard a chuckle from beside him, laced with something else he didn't understand. He sighed. This way, they wouldn't get anywhere. He stopped Naruto's victory dance and started telling his about the next test. So you only need to make 3 good clones, a substitution, and the henge. And he had barely finished speaking when there was an exact replica of him standing before him. He smiled. This would go well. Or at least he hoped so. The boy was having nothing short of miracles work for him today. If only he had his skill to blame. Iruka didn't know right he was. The boy's skill was something. Iruka shouted at the boy to dispel the jutsu and to get on with the rest of the exam, which went fairly well and Naruto passed it. It was after what happened interesting. When he came out of the exam room, the students saw a degraded boy which had finally learned his place. By his true friends saw better. They saw the shaking of his body that he usually had after a good prank. They saw the impatient tapping of his toes, usually at lunch when he couldn't wait to tell them something. And they also saw the twinkle in his eyes, hinting a smile despite the frown obvious on his face. So the students couldn't understand when his closest friends, instead of saying goodbye to the pariah, congratulated him and patted him on the back. Realization dawned on them, however, when they pulled a shiny blue headband from inside his pocket and laughed along with his friends at the students' gaping faces. How dare the idiot trick them like that, like he had been doing it his entire life. Their minds were now eager to wipe the smirk off his face. The face off the blonde, who now was laughing right along his friends at the fish-like expressions of the class. He was going to Ichiraku's, however, when Mizuki appeared. I wonder what he wants, was his thought when the teacher called him over for a walk and talk session. He politely excused himself from his friends and walked off towards his teacher. Their little walk took them to a deserted street, where Mizuki began the talking part. Naruto, congratulations on graduating from academy. He paused to let the boy nod. And I know it was particularly hard on you because of your skill in ninjutsu. So, I want to help you get stronger, but at the same time, I don't want you to give you power that you can't handle. So I have a test for you that will let me know of your skill and give you power at the same time. What do you say, Naruto? Naruto appeared to have considering the offer, and he nodded eagerly when all of it sunk in. This was almost too easy. Okay, Naruto, with a request to the Hokage, I've authorized a scroll to replace the standard scroll of sealing at the secret safe. You need to break in undetected and learn 1 jutsu from the scroll until I come to meet you, understand? Oh, he understood all right. Mizuki was a traitor and wanted to get the scroll of sealing and escape the village. He'll be damned if he could allow that to happen in the village of his precious people. Right, Dad? Kick his traitorous butt, Naruto. Left, right, left, right, left, right. That was the pattern of his legs as he ran and jumped through the forest, a scroll strapped to his back. He finally came to rest near some trees and a wearied-looking shack. Dramatic, right? Ah, scratch that. He wasn't winded from the run and he certainly wasn't having a one-track mind about the workings of his body parts. There was a scroll and a shack though. Now, to learn something before the traitor got here. The most likely route for him to take would be to follow Iruka-sensei. And Iruka-sensei would be here in about an hour. That should be plenty of time for him to learn something from the scroll. Still, the scroll wasn't forbidden for nothing. Those jutsu in the scroll weren't meant for the ordinary shinobi. You are anything but ordinary. One of the abnormal things about him stated. Besides, I saw the scroll already. Some of the jutsus in there is safe for you to use. But still, be careful for what you learn. Some of the jutsus in there can easily kill you. Abuse them. I'll tell you which ones to learn. Read them thoroughly and we'll practice in your mind to save time. Once you have some of them down, we can practice them until your Hiruzen or Mizuki comes. Come on, let us go. His dad, yet another unordinary thing about him, spoke up his opinion. Alright then, let's get this training started. Although there was nothing at all much exciting to read a scroll full of jargon, Naruto began the task with the utmost vigor. He read the first jutsu, Kage Bunshin. Hey Dad, he called out in his mind, what do you think about this one? I already have the regular Bunshin, but it says that these Bunshin are real and the person remembers everything that they see and do. Do you think it could be helpful in our regular training? There was silence on the other end for a minute. Yes, you're right, Naruto, this is an incredible idea and you also have the chakra necessary to get it right. Just skim the instructions. I don't have the necessary chakra right now and I really don't want to see a Kuminato. I have done this jutsu before. It's a lifesaver against paperwork. The voice had become blissful at the end. So, Naruto did as he had been asked. He skimmed the instructions and went to the classic sewer. There, he listened to his dad tell him about the jutsu and dutifully tried to do it. It wasn't hard, considering his chakra level, but he still needed to control how many and where his clones would spawn. so they took about an hour to perfect the jutsu. Then, he came back out and did the jutsu a few times to ensure that he had it down pat before moving on to the next on the list. That was when the perverted fox inside him voiced his millennia-old knowledge's worth. Why not use the bunshins to divide up the training and get more done that way? The father and son's faces froze to a dumbstruck look. The demon mused, apparently, the stupidity runs in the genetics, and I doubt becoming Kage helped out. After that revelation, the work went much quicker and they left a few clones outside reading while Naruto performed his training with 1,000 clones inside his mindscape. Every time he needed more jutsu to practice, one of his clones outside popped, and he got the information. So they worked and worked and worked to their limits. Inside, the sewer cast shadow over 1,000 and something clones doing rigorous training. Outside, a scarred and scorched Naruto was surrounded by a few of his clones. The wasted originals sat cross-legged on the floor, and the copies read as fast as they could. 45 minutes later. Iruka ran as fast as his legs could carry him. I know it's cliché, damn it. Of all the stupid pranks his little brother he had expected him to do, stealing the forbidden scroll was not among them. His eyes raked the forest for any sign of his student. He had to be here. He had checked every place in Konoha that Naruto could have gone, and this was the last. Naruto just had to be here. The counselors won't let him go free this time. Oh, why had Naruto done this? Why him? And how did he know where the forbidden scroll was kept? Gah! This was incredibly frustrating. He had 1,000 questions and none of them answered. He needed to find Naruto now. And find Naruto he did, stumbling a bit, clothes torn and skin scorched. His mouth agape, he froze when Naruto looked upon him, smiled, and said the words to answer his 1,000 questions. Finally, Sensei. Mizuki-sensei told you to get me. Did Mizuki-sensei send you? Am I strong enough now? The excitement was obvious in his tone. That moment, several of his questions were answered. Mizuki told Naruto to steal the scroll. Mizuki baited Naruto with power. And Naruto fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Then, as if to his instincts, he heard the all-too-familiar noise behind him, and Dolphin dived to the side, taking Naruto with him. A few kunai clung to his vest, and a few thudded into the wood of the shack. Naruto got up, looked at the kunai in his teacher's vest, then at a tree behind the teacher, his eyes full of confusion. He also got back up, looked behind him, seeing his co-instructor was standing coolly on a tree branch above him. Mizuki searched the scene and his eyes locked on the scroll in Naruto's hands. The traitor smirked. Good Naruto, I see you did as you were asked. Give the scroll to me now. His voice was inviting and trustworthy, and Naruto seemed to be falling for it. He had to stop it, now. So he did what one does when one manages a class full of young energetic soon-to-be ninja. He yelled at the boy. Naruto, don't give the scroll to Mizuki. He's lying, Naruto, don't give him the scroll. Naruto faltered and Mizuki's frown showed. But it was quickly under control. Mizuki tried a different maneuver. Come on, Naruto, let's trade. You give me the scroll, and I tell you why the village treats you like they do. Naruto started to raise his hands but glanced at the kunai and Iruka's vest. No. Mizuki's face showed surprise. All right then, he'd tell the boy anyways. Naruto, listen carefully. 12 years ago, there was a law passed in the village, shortly after the Kyuubi's attack, a law that only you weren't supposed to know about. Naruto's face showed surprise. He stammered on his next question, www.tll? Mizuki smirked at the timid tone of a once boisterous voice. A law, Naruto, which forbid anyone in the village to talk about the fact that you're the Kyuubi. Mizuki cackled madly. The only thing that Mizuki had not calculated in his plan was the thing that happened next. Naruto shrugged it away. Liar. He had said to put his fingers in a gesture with 2 fingers on one hand put vertically and the other hand horizontally in the same structure. Now, I'll tell you just what you get for trying to hurt my precious people, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. And so it happened that a traitor in Konoha had been beaten to an inch of his life and a Hokage looking at crystal ball had his mouth open. Iruka stumbled towards his student, jumping as 100 noise assaulted his ears at once. The poofs of smoke signaled by the boy's wince. Naruto, I believe you deserve a treat at Ichiraku's and a big paycheck for your first mission as a ninja. Let us go. And so the teacher and student began their long walk home. Only, the Hokage in his office muttered, Kid has the craziest luck. Naruto faced the old Hokage with a sense of dread. Had the old man seen him? Was he suspicious? Does he know about the powers? Does he know about Dad? When was he going to speak? The blonde was burning up inside. Even as his calm smile told the rest of the world that all was well with the boy, he was really anxious as to what the Hokage had to say to him. Naturally, he didn't even think of the main reason that the Hokage would call him here. Naruto, the professor began, as I hear it from Irika, you did quite well today. You brought a traitor from the village to justice. That is a pretty hard task. The Hokage was rudely interrupted as the facade slipped a bit from the boy. Come on, old man, stop the sugar-coating it and get to the point. Naruto glared at the stunned face of the person in front of him. The Hokage, recovering rather quickly from his shock, chuckled. That's more like the Naruto he knew than the emotionless boy just minutes ago. All right then, the wanted the truth so he would get the truth. He looked at the boy with a calculating gaze. The boy seemed very hard to try to contain his emotions, and Sarutobi was certainly not missing the intelligent glint in the boy's eyes. The boy was hiding something. The esteemed Hokage was a bit puzzled at this and a tad curious, but he did not want to invade the child's privacy. Kami knows that the boy has already had enough from his precious village. At least the boy had his friends, or Minato would never forgive him. He broke his gaze, smoked a bit, and settled for what was surely going to be a long story, and if he knew Naruto, there were sure to be interruptions. He just wanted relief from the unavoidable headache that was sure to follow. He sighed and began, Naruto, what Mizuki said in the forest, it was actually true, and trailed off at the stunned look on Naruto's face. And the only thoughts running through Naruto was the fox? Of all the bloody things, the fox? Who the hell does the guy think he is? Here I was with all the worrying and old man wanted to tell me that the fox was inside me. Why does this always happen to me? Inside his, though, was another story. His giant father was rolling on the floor of the transformed cage, in front of the TV, cackling hysterically. The demon for on the opposing cushion rolled his eyes, took one of his tails, jammed it on the roof and sent a surge chakra. Naruto jolted. Damn fox, he silently fumed. Alright then, the fox. Now he had to think of a way out of the situation. He couldn't think of a way out this fast, so he had to make an excuse for why he knew. That was pretty easy, right? Yeah. You see, old man, I already knew. Naruto choked out. Now the stun was back with the Hokage. How? The Hokage too choked out. Naruto knew how? He did not want another execution on Naruto's account. Naruto, bolstered by the fact that the Hokage was no less stunned than himself, continued in a steadier note. Well, you do realize that I haven't asked you about the villagers for about 2 years, right? He paved on at the still stunned Hokage's half-hearted nod, and really, when I hear the villagers say demon and fox, plus link it with my birthday, all I have to do is henge and talk with the villagers and research on demons, and voila, we have an informed Naruto. He waved a dramatic arm for effect, now taking express pleasure in how the Hokage's face got more and more wide-eyed and pale. The Hokage was a sputtering mess by now, trying to get the situation under control. And Naruto, I had no idea, I'm really sorry, but you see I didn't want it to burden you with. Naruto's face was back in that emotionless mask now. But that too was replaced by a sad smile in a few seconds. He spoke softly to a baffled village leader, Hey Gigi, this doesn't change anything. I knew. Did I say anything to you? He stopped till the Hokage shook his head, nor did I get angry, release the fox or start destroying the village? No, I didn't. And that is because I know that I don't care. I have a demon fox in me, so what? If you didn't tell me before, I knew it was for my own good because I trust you. Simple as that. He grinned mischievously at the old man. The Hokage nodded, albeit a bit slowly. I get it, Naruto, and I just time to deal with it, that's all. Naruto was still grinning at him. Hey, now that you think about it, I really don't need to prove myself to the villagers if I've already proven myself, so I don't need to become Hokage anymore. That's it. Forget Hokage. I'm getting a new dream. The Hokage was baffled again. Naruto stood up, proud style, and looked seriously at the clueless man. So yeah. My new dream is to get a new dream. The Hokage was on the verge of, and besides, I'm not as weak or stupid as you think. That said, Naruto sent Shinned out of there. Needless to say, the Hokage fainted. Naruto was up bright and early this morning. Actually, it was not that bright, because at 5 in the morning, the sky was dark blue in color. The sun was not up yet, but the blonde hair didn't need a sun to shine. That, however, was not the stuff of the boy's thoughts. In fact, the blonde was thinking of his team formations. Maybe, just maybe, the Sandaime would differentiate him because of yesterday, was the thought currently in the boy's head. But the same thoughts were not the only residents in his head, or was it stomach? Well, whichever it is, the boy had more than mere thoughts in his mindscape. This boy was unique, as he had his own father and a million, etc. years old demon locked inside his head. Normally, that demon was the reincarnation of pure evil, as it was said by the ninja world, but that was not the case. The demon was only a title. The nine-tailed fox, called Kurama, former resident of Hades, hell, etc., whatever you want to call it, was a being made of pure malevolent chakra. Its job was to keep the balance of power in the world. Whenever there was some person or some nation becoming too powerful or spreading chaos over the world, the tailed beasts were put to the task of stopping them. But there was a reason, you see, that the tailed beasts were put to this particular task. The tailed beasts, during their job, were exposed to high amounts of killing intent and evil sights. Now being full of massive amounts of chakra, the chakra responded naturally and changed. As they're already evil chakra, they are parts of the 10 tails, remember? Became more evil. The tailed beasts' minds were still intact while other lesser beasts' wills collapsed and they, with their chakra, became evil and had to be dealt with. But you humans, when you felt the killing intent of a tailed beast, naturally think it is powerful and evil. That is a perfectly logical assumption, and the tailed beasts understand that. Fear of things that you don't know of. Perfectly logical. But when greed started seeping into the minds of the puny mortals, then the tailed beasts were fought against and tried to be captured. That's when the mistrust formed. From then on, the demons treaded earth carefully, striking fast and hard at unsuspecting nations that were a threat. They did not want to kill innocent people, but when forced to, they had no choice. Whenever talking to humans, the tailed beasts hid their actual selves, as not to be taken advantage of, and acted as the humans thought, pure evil. But now, when Minato Namikaze tried to capture the great and mighty Kyuubi, the Kyuubi conceded the mask and showed the real self a bit, as they were both after a mutual enemy and the man seemed pure enough. Over time, that mask was forgotten and the two became friends. Friends, the demon who killed the man's wife and villagers, and the human that kept smiling through his every pain. That was the most unusual friendship. Then, as in the child, they saw his bad life, the demon saw the human's perspective of things. The father beside fretted for 6 years, whether to approach the boy and give him the dream life he always wanted, or to risk a negative response, and lose the only son he ever had. I mean, who wanted a father that was the cause of his son's suffering? No one did, and that was the thought that troubled the man most. But after 6 years, the father's patience cracked when he heard his only son's cries for the millionth time. He couldn't take it anymore. He could not see his son suffer like that anymore. And when the boy was secluded, he let dam burst and brought the boy into his own mind. But still then, he kept control of himself barely and gave out the boy honest answers. When the boy punched and kicked him for the suffering he got, he stopped pretty soon when he realized that his dream had come true. The boy, too, tried to control himself a bit, and became his own bouncy self. He asked his father questions and did whatever he could that came up in his mindscape. For the next 6 years, for the boy, the hateful stares of the villagers didn't seem so powerful anymore, and the boy's own joyful mask, there to hide his sadness, went from a mask to his own true self. The father and son trained together, shared stories, and basically had a wonderful life after 6 years of suffering. The blond boy, never one to hold a grudge, gradually forgave and understood his father's need to lock Kurama in his mindscape, or stomach. When he went to ninja school, he found something equally precious: friends. Those were his precious people. They were the reasons he went to the academy or became a ninja, to protect his precious people. Last night, one of his precious people was in danger when a traitor to the village tried to steal a forbidden scroll and flee the village. Naruto did not have any mercy on the people who harmed his precious people, and he beat the traitorous bastard to an inch of his life, and then handed him off to Ibiki for interrogation, and then to the Hokage for execution. Now, this morning, he shook his arms and legs, checking to see if they felt heavier than normal. They didn't. So, he pumped a small mixture of his and Kurama's chakra into the pieces of cloth tied to his arms, legs and torso. He suddenly felt the weight settle on him, and moved around a bit. A normal 12-year-old could not handle the weight Naruto had on, but it was stated that Naruto was anything but normal, and the Kyuubi's chakra kept any harm from coming to his muscles and bones. As Naruto had so much weight on, the push-ups, sit-ups, running etc. he did would inflate his muscles like balloons, but what Kyuubi did was to convert all that muscle mass into density and harden his muscles and bones, making them closest on the mortal plane to invincibility. But then he also exercised regularly, not letting the energy waste as fat. He had trained a lot over 6 years and now worked like a well-oiled machine. This seems heavy enough, he thought, and set off on a brisk jog around the village, a time clear of patrol ninja and civilians alike. As his feet silently pawed the ground, he thought of a new future ambition, as he not want to become Hokage now, for recognition. What could he become? He shuddered. Never an emo like Sasuke, not gonna happen. Now that I have a family, he thought, maybe it can grow bigger, and besides he had nothing against redheads. There was pure chaos and happiness, nervousness, anticipation, agitation, laziness, hopeful feelings and emo radiance in the classroom of Irika Yumino the day after he was a bit injured. The students were happy, finally being able ninja. They were eager to see their team formation and sensei. They were nervous on who they would eventually be paired up with. Some people were agitated with the people beside them, some were too lazy to feel anything much, and some were sulking and brooding too much to care. Majority of the girls in the class had their hearts full with hope, mostly straying towards the boys' side of the bargain. At least our resident Hinata didn't feel like the stupid fangirls, but her thoughts told a different story, a story of a selfless and courageous blonde boy with cerulean eyes. Ah well, she will improve eventually. But all the chatter stopped when the blonde boy mentioned strolled into the room like he owned it, orange clothes and a shiny addition on the forehead. He sauntered up to a semicircle of the friends he had, sitting in the front and center of their group, which was looking amusedly at the expressions of the people around them. The class rolled their heads away and resumed chatting like nothing had happened. But the same thing happened again when their sensei strolled in professionally and ordered them into their seats. When they were all seated, he ordered them to remain quiet throughout the session. Then he finally spoke. You, he began passionately, are not students in the academy anymore, you are newly fledged ninja. But you will always be my students, who are now genin, ready to begin their ninja life. Being a genin, even though it is a low rank, is the start of your adventures. You will be divided into teams of 3 with the Jonin sensei, as I am sure you all know from the lessons you have been taught here. Now I will announce your team members and you will wait for your sensei to arrive. Iruka began listing off the names in the register he carried, aware of the cast glances between 5 unique friends when he announced teams 7 to 10. To him, Naruto seemed impassive when he heard his teammates' names of Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. Just as that, all the names were announced. After he saw Shino and Hinata go with Kurenai, and Choji and Shikamaru with Asuma, he awaited for his sensei. He waited and waited and waited. And finally, after 2 hours of Sakura's continuous screeching, when he heard footsteps outside in the hall, he was really pissed. He had not played any pranks in the few weeks of the graduation, and he really wanted to do one right now. And well, if he itching for his sensei would also have to itch for him too. So, he went over to the door silently, opened it just a crack, put a bucket on the top and opened one of his many pouches. He took out a suspicious-looking silver packet, cut it open with a kunai, and dumped its contents into the bucket. As he heard the footsteps outside the door, he was waiting seeming oblivious and with a blind smile. His grin grew slightly wider when a silver-haired man stepped into the room and failed to notice the now toppling bucket above him. The task was silent and efficient. Ignoring Sakura's screech and his sensei's I hate you message, he sensed the shock in father's spirit. What's up, Dad? He asked, curious. The man inside his was quiet for a moment until Kurama, having enough of his speechlessness, swatted a paw toward the older blonde. The former Hokage recovered from his shock when a few gallons of water doused him from chakra made head to chakra made toe. Then he cracked up and laughed till the Kyuubi did it again. The older blonde stood up angrily and flipped the ages-old demon the bird. The demon, not to be outdone, took all 4 of his paws and all his 9 tails, and thrust them in the air. The former Hokage chuckled and explained to Naruto about his younger days. He had already told Naruto a lot about his life. When Naruto learned that the masked genin in his dad's stories was the masked jonin today, he cracked up too. In his mind, of course, as he was emotionless on the outside. Well, maybe not emotionless, but someone's normal blinding smile can't be emotion, right? Oh, forget it. Who the hell did he think he was convincing? He had fake hearts set on his sleeves. After they went up, had the classic welcome and introductions, Kakashi-sensei told them to go back home and come to training ground 7 for the test. After Sakura's screeching, again, they went back home. Naruto, arriving at his apartment, was directed by his dad to concentrate on a thunder god kunai a bit under the earth of the village. Naruto found several. His dad told him to sense the closest to the east edge of the village. Naruto narrowed his search down to 3 kunai now. Now his dad told him to find the kunai, in those 3, the most towards the center of the village. When he found the specific kunai, his dad told him to focus harder than normal on it. When he did the haration he was used to, he felt something pass through him, like a ray or something. A less than a microsecond later, he was standing in the middle of a typical Konoha home. He was speechless for a moment before he asked his dad what this was. "This is your graduation present," his dad replied calmly. Naruto felt his throat dry and looked around wildly. He snapped to all the rooms, 2 bedrooms, a master bedroom, 2 washrooms, a kitchen, a dining room which he was standing in right now, and a living room. He stuttered a bit. "Dad? What? He was interrupted by his dad, who also had his eyes tear up. "Now, Naruto, my son, welcome to my humble abode before I had died." Naruto was openly crying now, and Minato had a heartwarming smile on his face. "Come on now, Naruto, is my strong son just going to sit there crying?" he teased. Naruto immediately went to his mindscape and threw himself upon his father. Minato chuckled, tearful, and stood there, comforting Naruto. Seriously, he thought, how he can remain a kid after all he went through is beyond me, but I like that he has. Naruto, after the hug, spun a quick 180 degrees on his personality. After his tears dried up, he was excitedly shifting room to room, talking excitedly with his father on what was what wasn't. The house, too, was just like Minato remembered it, fully unchanged and messy to a fault. He or Kushina had never been the type of people to stay organized. Besides, he did enough organization at his job, he did not need to bring that home. As he checked the seals in the house network, Naruto asked him, "Hey Dad, why is the house clean and undisturbed like this? I mean, it has to have cobwebs and the old man Sarutobi needs to have visited sometime." Minato chuckled, "Naruto, when you forget, I remind you that I am a seals master. A few housekeeping seals are nothing beyond me. As for the old man, that was the security seals I put up. According to that seal, only with its current master's genes can enter the house or hook other people to the house. Once the master died, the house was not recognized safe anymore and shut down, until its master's descendant came and reawakened the security measures. You remember the scan when you teleported, right?" He continued at Naruto's curious nod. "That was the house recognizing you as its true new master. You can also program the seals to let other people in. All you need to do is get some of their blood and make them pump a bit of chakra into the seal. To get into the house, since it has no big path in front of the space in front of the door, is also pretty easy. All the person needs to do is nick some blood on the kunai and pump some chakra into it. If the person's blood and chakra is keyed into the seal, they are let in and transported in front of the door, to which they can ring a bell and we can let them in. For the person who is not keyed into the seal, if they do the jutsu, they are tied up and left until someone or they get free." Naruto, listening in rapt attention, nodded after a few moments, finally understanding the concept. His father, seeing the discussion had closed, got back into reality and turned serious again. "Naruto, now, you still need to keep a shadow clone up for appearances and supplies, but you can live here indefinitely, as long you shadow clone takes a bathroom break as whenever someone comes to your apartment." At the last statement, he smirked at Naruto and Naruto smiled back. And then he focused on a particular kunai that he had gotten used to and teleported back to his mangy virtually former apartment. He made a shadow clone, ignored the clone's whining, and teleported back to his true home, flopped on the master bedroom's big comfy bed, curled like a fish, and went to sleep happily. On the other side of town, someone was not that happy. Hyuga Hayashi had just gotten back from one of his meetings with Hinata's personal instructor, Yuhi Kurinai. What a fool he had been to think that if he didn't push his daughter much, she would improve. Now, he heard that she was not much more advanced now than she was before. Granted, her confidence had increased, but that was due to the company of the brash demon brat. The elders had voted for Hinata to give up the company of the brat, but he had seen her confidence increase, and told off that decision. Now, he thought, once the company of the boy had to be lessened, she would eventually revert back to her old self. She was so much like her mother, he shooed the thought as quickly as it came. This was no time for wishful thinking. He was the head of the Hyuga clan, the head. It was all his responsibility. He also found that the instructor was not that advanced of a jonin as he had thought and heard she was. She was a tracker and genjutsu specialist, but Hinata needed power right now, not tracking skills. He needed to get his older daughter a new instructor. Someone like Kakashi of the Sharingan, but the teams was already distributed. The Uzumaki brat was on Team 7, not Hinata. Slowly, his mind comprehended the idea she needed power, a better instructor, and her growing confidence. The corner of Hayashi's mouth twitched minutely. Way to kill the whole flock of birds with one stone, he thought. Ah well, at least Hanabi and Niji were not disappointing. As Naruto walked through the streets of Konoha, he pretended to be oblivious of the glares and mutters of the villagers around him, but the two tenants inside him regarded the matter differently. The first tenant, a millenniums-old demon fox with 9 tails, called Karama aka Kyubi, was getting more and more pissed off at this, as he had been enduring this for about 12 years. The second tenant, the father of the boy that housed the tenant, was saddened at the gullible and idiotic villagers who couldn't tell the difference from a prisoner and a prison and was currently thinking, I don't know why Dad even decided to come back to Konoha. The second tenant, Minato Namikaze, the son of Kid Namikaze, formerly Kiri, and Azura Namikaze. The fourth Hokage was also the grandson of Uten Namikaze and Kirin Namikaze, formerly Uchiha. The Namikaze, although they weren't ninjas or a clan, had a great ancestry. It was rumored in the family that the Namikaze existed even in the times of the Sage of Six Paths. But alas, when the great sage taught the people of ninjutsu, it started the world's rise and fall from greatness. As the people started learning, they made their tasks infinitely easier, and a golden age descended upon the world. But as the already evil minds learned jutsu, they surpassed all bounds of chaos. Eventually, there were other professions made, and being a ninjutsu master was not the only thing to be powerful. There were still people that liked the jutsu, so they made it a profession of their own. They also trained their bodies and minds. They became a powerful force. They became ninjas. But unity was not to be. In a race to be powerful, they people clumped together and battled the opposition. They formed clans, and blood and other genetic mutations were born. People were fighting left, right, and center. But the conflict continued, and eventually, people started discovering the peace that the Sage of Six Paths once preached of. They started uniting and settling down to build small villages and big cities. They were at peace for now. As peace descended upon the lands, the ninja had nothing to do. But the evil in the world had not admitted defeat. Greed and corruption plagued the peace. As the evil minds in society rose, so did the good intentions in others. The ninjas, who were now petty sellswords, came into activation once again. More clans were formed based on beliefs, country, mutations, and other things. The clans fought for the nations that employed them or the region that they had settled in. The war for power began once again. The nomads tired of moving around and settled down. Now, the war for power became a race to have the biggest empire. As ninja villages also settled, the nations that they settled in demanded loyalty from the warriors. The warriors, ninjas, when had no other way to earn a living, agreed. And so, the world kept fighting. In the race for a bigger empire, 5 great nations were born. One of the great nations, the Land of Fire, had 2 ninja clans, trying to prove their might. One was the Senju clan, descended from the Sage of the Six Paths and powerful beyond belief. They believed in unity and strength from their will. They trained hard and made a motto to better themselves. They called their motto the Will of Fire. They had many leaders, currently someone by the name of Hashirama Senju. They were believed to be the most powerful ninjas in the world by some people. They shared a mutual dislike and rivalry to another clan of matching power. The Uchiha clan was also descended from the Sage of the Six Paths. The clan, though, believed in a completely different thing than the other descendants. The Uchiha believed in power to overwhelm, and though this was a good belief, their greed overwhelmed them and so shaped their own motto, the Curse of Hatred. They, with their powerful eyes, tried to shape their world. At his time, they had the strongest warrior they had seen in several generations, Madara Uchiha, the master of the Sharingan, possessor of the Manjikyu and the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, as their leader. The Uchiha and the Senju, powerful as they were, decided not to spill more precious blood and agreed to build their own independent village. They had their people decide the better leader, and Hashirama won. Madara, angry at his people, tried to get them to rebel, but the people, seeing his true colors, shunned and kicked him out. And so, the village hidden in the leaves began its existence. But peace was not to be lasting, as Madara came back stronger and challenged Hashirama. There he summoned the nine-tailed fox and controlled him to try to destroy the first Hokage. But Hashirama's ideals proved better, and he still defeated the angry Uchiha, but at the cost of his own life. Years later, neither the Will of Fire nor the Curse of Hatred died out. There were still people opposing the beliefs on both sides, but were silenced by the masses. The people in the Uchiha clan were regarded as warriors. Anyone who did not show potential was shunned and picked upon. One female ninja, in their ranks, had not awakened her Sharingan, though she was pretty powerful. When the clansmen started ignoring her because of her power status, the truth of their belief dawned upon her. Therefore, Kirin Uchiha fled the village and the clan. She traveled far and wide, changing her identity every once in a while. She found a rich family, promoting peace, and having ninjas in its ranks. She settled inside the town located in the Land of Fire, close to the family. There, she found work and lived peacefully and contentedly for years. She caught the eyes of a boy in the family, fell in love, married and had children. Then she told her 2 children, Azura and Tobi, of her childhood and raised them to be peaceful. As they grew up in the town, Azura was content to live and stay peacefully, but Tobi wanted more from his life, so he decided to leave the family and travel the world. The family disliked the decision but accepted it. They did not hear from him ever again. So, Azura Namikaze was left alone in the town. He, while out doing business in the town, bumped into the most amazing woman he had ever seen. They too, eventually fell in love, married and had a boy named Minato Namikaze. The boy too, grew up with ideals of peace for all, and the stories of his grandma. The stories positively enraptured him. But still, peace was disrupted by the wars and his grandma died of old age. Azura then decided that the town held too many sad memories, decided to move to Konoha, the village of his mother. In Konoha, to raise his son, got the job of a small merchant and with the money from the Namikaze family, lived happily with his son. His son, though, was all along dreaming about being a ninja, having heard the stories from his mother. His dad did not like it, but if his child wanted to be something and would be happy doing it, he would not want to stop him. So Minato became a ninja, always sticking to what his grandmother taught him, to be peaceful, calm, and thoughtful before getting violent. And when you get violent, you channel the rage into your actions. He had a good year at the academy, save for a few kinks here and there. The biggest thing he had been noticing was his increasing affection for one red-haired girl. Kushina Uzumaki, coming from the now extinct village of Yuzushiogakure, was just as her peers occasionally described her, a red-hot habanero. She had a fiery temper, fiery personality, fiery pride, and a fiery beauty. He was enraptured by her every move, every word, and every gesture. He could not get enough of watching her. But she, on the other hand, was riding the year away a storm, with her cowgirl personality. Her dream of Hokage, the one she pursued with every passionate bone in her body, Minato thought of it worthy of a girl like her. Of course he would not tell her, or speak up his affections, he was too shy. He could only watch as she stormed her way through the academy. Then it happened, she got abducted one night. He was crazy with worry. He asked almost everyone in town of her whereabouts. They had nothing to soothe him. But then, by a stroke of ironic luck, he saw a small strand of her hair. At first he ignored it, thinking nothing, but then he saw another after that one, then another, and another. He saw ahead for a trail of the beautiful red hair she hated so much. He quickly followed the trail, finding her and killing the Nines kidnapping her. And there, he got over his fears and shyness. While standing on the tall branch overlooking the village, she saw the impression of him that he had wanted her to see for so long. There, he had truly hoped that there was hope for them. And over time, that hope blossomed to be true as they advanced through their career. They had fallen for each other. But Minato became Hokage, the position she wanted so much, and she became a Jinchuriki, an abomination to the village. That was a bad time that Azura saw for his son. The boy he had raised was in tatters. He had the stress of being Hokage, the anger of his girlfriend, and the sadness of the very same girl all wrapped up into one. And for the boy, it was worse. His girlfriend was sad, lacking her usual enthusiasm and fire. And after she had snapped at him for the 131st time, as he had been counting, he had had enough. He took a kunai from his pouch, nicked his arm, and sprayed the blood on his love's face, effectively shocking her. And when her stunned face came into his view again, he let go of everything he had been holding from her. He ranted and raved at her till his cheeks hurt, his mouth ached, and his lips went dry, but he did not stop. Kushina, meanwhile, was silent all through the tirade, listening to her boyfriend about how he was worried about her and did not care what was inside her. Once she finally had enough, she snapped out of it and solidly punched him in the gut. Minato, his breath knocked out of him, was now assured that Kushina was back to normal, and fainted with a smile on his face. Kushina smiled, sighed, and carried her lover to the hospital so that he would not bleed out. They married in secret 2 years later, and Kushina was pregnant 6 months after. Life was good. But then the tragedy struck, and it is what it is right now. And now, Naruto is walking through Konoha's big streets in order to get to the Hokage office. He was curious too. According to him, he should have gone to get the test from Kakashi. The presence of ANBU at his doorstep was not at all reassuring. Ah well, he would see it when got there. When got inside the office, he saw 1 Hokage, 2 outcasts, 2 Jonin, and 1 Sasuke and 1 Sakura and 1 Kiba. Alright, he was definitely curious. They were obviously waiting for him, so he greeted them. Hey Sakura, hey Sasuke, hey Sensei, hey Hinata, hey Shino, hey Kiba, hey pretty lady I don't know, and hey Gigi. They all looked incredulously at him, well, all except the Hokage, Shino and Hinata, who said hello back. Naruto shows some respect, was Sakura's response/screech. Kurenai and Kakashi said nothing except an outraged gasp. Kiba smirked, hoping that he would get in trouble. Sasuke looked up from his brooding to HN then lower his head back down. The Hokage laughed, and his friends smiled. The Hokage then spoke to them, alright now, greetings aside, we had a bit of a complication. The Jonin asked about what it was. Well, it seems one of our clan's head does not agree with the team formations, so we will have to switch them up. Naruto, Shino, and Hinata had hopeful looks while the other gave gasps. Kakashi was the first to recover. Who, Lord Hokage, and why? The Hokage replied, the Hyuga head Hayashi has requested that his daughter be placed in a stronger team with confident members. At this, he looked pointedly at Team 7. So, considering the facts that Naruto, Hinata, and Shino have worked together in the past, and that Sasuke's Sharingan could get better with the help of Kurenai's Genjutsu skills, I have decided a new team formation for both of the teams. Naruto spoke shortly after. Is that Hinata's dad? The Hayashi Hyuga? The one in the clan that the biggest stick up his *** that Konoha has ever had the displeasure to encounter? That Hayashi Hyuga? They were outraged now, except for Naruto, Hinata, and Shino of course, as the outcasts were perfect little angels. All the reactions were different. Kurenai and Kakashi started protesting with the Hokage. Naruto and his friends looked hopefully at each other, wishing it was what they thought it was. The others started to protest with their senseis in order to know what was going to happen to them. The Hokage had had enough. The noise died out immediately. You will listen to this, and this is final. Upsetting the Hyuga head or Naruto is something I am not interested in. Naruto was beaming. The new team formations will be as follows. Team 7 will consist of Kakashi Hatake, Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Team 8 will consist of Kurenai Yuhi, Kiba Inuzuka, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. You are dismissed. Naruto thought that his smile could not get any wider. He high-fived both his friends and ran up the Hokage to hug him. The Sandaime ruffled his hair in response, while hugging Naruto back. The Sandaime smiled too, and was genuinely happy because his young charge had been made happy because of him. The Hyuga were not all that bad, he thought, at least they made Minato's son happy. And anything that would make Naruto or Konohamaru happy would be fine by him. Together, the three of them dragged a stunned Kakashi away from the office. Unknown to Sino, Hinata, or Kakashi, Naruto did a few hand signs and activated the prank that he had poured on Kakashi earlier. Kakashi could not understand how he had started itching so badly so fast. Then I'll use don't worry control, just do our cool, let's do it, was all Kakashi heard before his new students rushed him. To say that he was appalled at the team change was a big understatement. He had, in fact, hoped for the youngest alive Uchiha to be in his team. The screeching Banshee fangirl could be a minor discomfort, but he could have bared it. Now, with the new students, his perspective was being changed quickly. For one, they were working well with each other. They were nothing like he would have predicted his earlier team to be. For two, they knew about his plan. After he had said start, they had just whispered coordinates to each other, and jumped away to hide. He knew that Naruto was one person that would try to rush him head on, but here, nothing was going as he had assumed, and then, they had actually figured his game out, as they were trying to team up on him. He tried not to spy on them, to give them the advantage of surprise, but he could not resist. From the snippets that he tried not to hear, he gathered that they were making a plan. He chuckled silently. Looks like they took the order to kill seriously then, he mused. Now, he knew the plan involved something, so he was on his alert. And the fact that he knew Hinata and Shino were behind him helped too. Now all three rushed him from all sides, but surprised him again when Naruto shot 3 kunai towards him. He caught the kunai easily, heard the telltale was behind his left ear and caught another 3 kunai, and then another behind his right ear. He turned to fling all of the kunai back at Naruto, was deflecting the kunai from the Golden Kid himself. Then the blonde spoofed into nothing as Kakashi's kunai hit his head. He chuckled once again. The best of the year then. Now he was glad that he had this certain team. The title of prodigy and dead last can be very misleading, Kakashi thought. He did not need to turn around to see that the others were gone too. He got their plan now. Test the teacher out. Person A, B, and C surround the target. Throw kunai each at a time to check the target's reflexes. And then create a diversion so that all members can get away. Classic but effective. Alright then, if they thought themselves as big shots, they should be surviving his turn too. He went to the Hyuga girl first. Genjutsu was useless against Hyuga, as he realized when his illusion faded as quickly as it had come. Ninjutsu, his headhunter, was easily foiled. And now that he was in the open, he tried for traps. He sent a duplicate of the bell rolling towards the girl, acting like he had dropped it. The girl pretended to lunge for his waist, and he realized that his protective twitch had given him away. And judging from the smirk on her face, she had not fallen for it in the first place. Alright then, she was up to it. He shunshined it away, leaving the girl startled at his retreat. It was going so well. He went after the Aburame next. He targeted Genjutsu again, proved futile by the illusion collapsing after just a second. Taijutsu was fine too, judging by the fact that he had gotten some hits from the boy, while beating him up. Ninjutsu was fine too, considering the fact that the boy had responded with a water wall to Kakashi's fireball. The sensei was starting to enjoy this. Then, he felt a sudden flare of chakra. Large amounts of chakra. Volatile chakra. Malevolent chakra, demonic chakra. The blondie. He was not given a chance to relax, however, as the said person jumped into his vision. The demeanor of the boy had changed considerably. Gone was the happy-go-lucky, shouting, idiotic kid. He was replaced with a boy with a distinctive dangerous aura, slitted dark blue eyes, and the deepened whiskered marks also helped maintain that image. The boy jumped across to him, swiping his hand claw whatever, at him, poised to kill. Kakashi's eyes widened and his smirk deepened. Oh by hell, he was going to enjoy this. But like shit, Kakashi's smirks usually don't last long. This time was no exception. Naruto showed a feral grin, and lunged at his sensei again. Kakashi was having a panic attack now that he was done with being excited for the match. His unusual thought were, is the seal okay? Did the Ninetales escape? Is Naruto okay? Is Naruto in control? Am I gonna die? Yep, he was panicking. He was not given any time to dwell on his thoughts as Naruto quickly rained down a barrage of bone-breaking kicks and punches on his guard. And though he did not show any emotion or weakness on the outside, he winced each time on the inside. And while he concentrated, he failed to see a few insects and an unusually orange bug crawling up his legs. He also failed to see the orange bug go into his pockets and get an equally orange book. And what he failed to see most of all was the other bugs bite through the threads holding the bells together just until the threads were cut apart. But he did finally notice those bugs. He flipped over backwards, all while shaking the bugs off him, all except the unusual orange bug. The unusual orange bug put his legs together in a weird pattern, and several more orange bugs poofed into existence. Almost all the bugs took a hold of the book, while one disappeared. Naruto, fighting Kakashi, suddenly grinned, and gave a signal. If Kakashi noticed a violetish blue-haired Hyuga heiress behind him, he did not give any indication until Naruto jumped and ran back and a chakra-induced palm went over his crouched body. He dodged a kick that came next, along with the punch accompanying it. He dodged all of the heiress's attacks, making sure to not guard any of them. The barrage still continued, no end in sight. Naruto, on the other hand, ran away from the battle, made a clone, and nodded at him. The clone nodded back, changed into an orange bug, and did a leg sign. In Kakashi's pocket several bugs and a book suddenly vanished, replaced with a lone orange bug, who too, poofed into nothingness. Outside the pocket, the girl fighting Kakashi smirked as the blonde that she knew jumped into her vision and gave her a thumbs up. She put an extra kick in her next kick. The chakra that she put in her feet extended an extra foot, and snagged the two bells that escaped her foot. The bells flew away from her and landed in Naruto's outstretched hand. When the sensei started to jump towards the blonde and get the bells back before the time limit, the blonde smirked and pulled out a very familiar book out of his pocket. Kakashi froze. Bug Boy, who was behind Kakashi till now, jumped towards Naruto, stood beside him, took out a kunai, and raised it over the book. Naruto spoke, well. What now, Kakashi-sensei? The book or the bells? Jump over here, and we kill the book, but you get the bells. Raise your hands, concede, and let Hinata paralyze you. The book will stay fine dandy while we eat lunch. If they were any other genin, he would have just gone there with more speed than the kids could see, gotten his book back and told them that they had passed. He was not so sure in this plan with these kids, and the platinum version of the Ika Paradise, with illustrations and authoress notes, was not worth the risk. So he did what needed to be done. He raised his hands and let the girl hit him from behind, blacking out. The next thing he saw was the blonde, the bug boy, and the Hyuga putting away his lunch. When they noticed he was awake, they smiled and went to help him. Kakashi, though, felt the weight of his book in his pocket and decided it was time for some retribution. He spoke after a few seconds, all right then, you three beat me, but there are only 2 bells, so decide which one goes back to the academy and which one stays. They all looked at each other, and burst, you two can stay. At each other. That made Kakashi smile and chuckle. He eased their worries, you all pass, and you all are genin. See you at the entrance of the Hokage Tower at 7 tomorrow. Yes, in the morning? Then he shined away to he knows where. The 3 jumped up and high-fived each other. Naruto then spoke to the other 2, okay, guys, we passed. Shino, go see Choji and Shika to see if they passed. Let's meet at the old playground at 7 tonight. Hinata, I need to talk to you. The 2 nodded at him. Shino ran off and Hinata turned to him. She sighed, still beating me up more than training me. They still have a stick up all of their yes. Naruto nodded, and replied, well then, I suppose I will have to train you. Hinata's head just jerked up in surprise, come on, you have on one caring for you in your own home. And you know that I am capable of more than this. Who else do you think can do it? Let's meet up after the missions and team training tomorrow. Hinata nodded and ran off, the voice calling after her, by the way, watch your language. She blushed and ran harder, trying to ignore the chuckles emanating after her. Buzz target sighted Buzz. Buzz target sighted Buzz. Buzz target sighted Buzz. Buzz 28 meters from target Buzz. Buzz 7 meters from target Buzz. Buzz 3 meters from target Buzz. Buzz converge Buzz. Then the silence lasted only a moment before a lot of rustling was heard and a screech filled the forest. The screeching was followed immediately by a lot of OWs and OUCHs and a fair bit of colorful language. But then that quieted down as well and a satisfied hum was heard. I swear, if I get one more D-ranked mission to catch that cat, and oh no, and oh if I get one more D-ranked period, I am going to collapse from depression or inactivity or both. Now, Naruto, Tora is innocent. See, look at her, quiet and peaceful. That's not fair, Hinata. The blasted cat has it out for me. It's only peaceful with you. Come on, all of you. We need to finish the mission. Shino stayed quiet. Naruto walked back with his team. The fox had already healed his face of the scratches from the cat, now resting peacefully in Hinata's arms. Naruto knew. He knew that he had to do some D-ranked mission, but what the hell was this? The limit was 15 D-ranked missions and they had already done 37. He heard his dad and Kurama laughing at him again. Those two. Ah, there you are. I hope the mission went well. The Sandaime Hokage inquired of them. Kakashi nodded before a shadow descended upon them and the cat in Hinata's arms was roughly yanked from their grasp and coddled like mad from a creepy fat woman. Naruto started to feel a little bad about the cat before he squashed the feeling. Hey Gigi, I am not taking any more of the stupid missions. We already did more than we need. Naruto protested to the Hokage. The thoughts of his team well matched his. The Hokage looked out the window. It seemed the sunset was still a ways off. He sighed. He wished he had Irika here today, but the teacher was need for the academy. The absence of Mizuki created a blank spot in the teacher section. He was not in the mood to protest. Fine, Naruto. You can have one tomorrow. And as you pointed out, you already did a lot of the missions. You can take a day to relax before your mission. Just then, Team 8 walked in through the doors. The old Hokage cursed his luck. Kurenai briefed the old man on the mission. Sasuke and Sakura stayed quiet, but Kiba did not. Oh, you have that cat again. Ha, you probably can't get a better mission, can you, Naruto? Naruto, exhausted from the mental dealing with the mission, snarled at him. Kiba smirked. Naruto swore Kiba would not have that smile at the end of the day. Yeah. She wouldn't last a second against Akamaru. He continued. Naruto had realized his mistake, reprimanded himself, and did not rise to the bait this time. Eventually, the bait withered out and they got paid for their mission and went their own ways. Naruto pulled Hinata aside. He mouthed training at her. She nodded. They went to the usual clearing that they trained at. Just about a mile from his team's usual training field. Naruto turned towards her. They sat down and made small talk, but that quickly got out of their way. He spoke after a moment of silence. Hey Hinata, how's your family tree going? Any new branches up any of their asses? She giggled. Not any new ones, Naruto. Just that the old ones got a little bigger. Ho? What do we have here? Our innocent little Hinata-chan is not that innocent after all. He teased her. Her blush could rival a tomato, but she had learned to control herself from Naruto. Well, Naruto, I learned from the best ones, didn't I? He laughed along with her. When the laughter died out, he signaled her to get up and get ready. She nodded. Naruto nodded to her and pointed to a place not far from where he was standing. Hinata nodded back and stood at the mentioned place, falling into the standard Hyuga stance. The veins around her eyes bulged outwards. They both waited just 3 seconds, then rushed at each other. Naruto threw a left hook at her face, while trying to drive a knee into her gut. She expertly dodged both while going for palm strikes on his outstretched arm. He lowered it and tried to kick her back. She was not fast enough and suffered the brunt of the blow through the elbows that she barely brought down in time. She took a deep breath to recover and charged back in with a stronger resolve to hit the blonde. He was guarding well. She tried to strike the forearms on display, but was baffled when he suddenly fell. She looked down to see him take out a kunai and try to stab her foot. She widened her eyes, narrowed them, and she too fell down, bringing her feet back, trying to knock him out by driving her elbow onto his head. He smirked, rolling out of the way. She rolled forward and jumped up, but he dodged her feet and jumped several meters back. She sauntered forward with a smirk on her face. Then she fell into a stance he recognized. He had seen her practice it several times before. Had she mastered it? His answer was the patter of feet as she rushed towards his calm appearance and shocked personality. She yelled out the words as she battered his body with strikes. As soon as the last strike was delivered, she jumped back while the boy in front of her was covered in smoke and disappeared into nothing. She suddenly spun around with palms out, missing the same person by inches. He went on the offensive, punching and kicking seemingly every part of her small body. She stumbled back, fell on one knee, and tried to ignore the pain. The boy smiled at her efforts but rushed at her again. She, clenching her jaw in determination and eyes shining, brushed off the boy's strikes. However, the boy smirked and jumped back. She widened her eyes as she felt mud under her. He calmly and quickly raised his hand and formed a hand sign. She felt the mud harden and her feet stuck in the ground. She narrowed her eyes and ground her teeth. She threw a few shuriken at the boy, all while trying to wrench her leg out and falling into her first stance. The boy smirked wider and blazed through a lot of hand seals, dodging the projectiles. She saw him stop but was obstructed further view when a mud dome encased itself around her. She struck the offensive walls hard, and when they did not crack or waver, tried harder. She exhausted her reserves trying to get the dome to open but to no avail. Outside, the boy smiled proudly. Do not give up for sure. He taught her well. He released both jutsus, and braced himself as the kunoichi rushed at him again. Her breathing was haggard but her stance, posture and resolve unwavering. He waited till she was close enough and quickly got behind her, and held his kunai at her neck, smirking confidently. I concede, said Hinata. She slumped, and Naruto held her closely and carefully. She waited till she had recovered enough and stood again. The arms still remained around her waist. She expelled a little bit of chakra from all her tenketsu, reminding him, while they both failed to contain their blushes. Naruto sprung away and rested a bit in front of her. He, too, tried to ignore the raucous laughter of his two tenants. He thought of the battle in silence. So, his clone's memories told him about the jutsu she had performed. 8 trigrams 62 palms. Congrats, Hinata, he told the blue-haired girl, you finally finished it, eh? That was one hell of a painful jutsu. Man, I would be mangled if I was in there instead of my clone. The girl smiled gratefully and blushed at the praise. Naruto, what were those jutsu that you used to trap me? They were hard to escape from. And how did you get so fast? She curiously fired the questions at the blonde. He smiled and sighed, his body language telling her enhanced eyes that he was seemingly arguing with himself. He smirked satisfactorily and confidently after a few moments. He gazed into her eyes. Hinata, I won't promise to tell you everything because I can't. But I can tell you some stuff. Those jutsu were Earth style, mud trap and Earth style, Earth dome. I can't, unfortunately, tell you where they come from, but just know that it is not exactly my choice, okay? He continued at her nod, as for the speed, chakra weights are your friends. I can't give you them but I can give you a gravity seal. She smiled and thanked him. He asked her to put the seal somewhere her clan would not want to look. She turned red and asked him to turn away for a bit. He complied, turning away, despite his body screaming at him to not do so. After she signaled him back, he moved on to the darker subjects. He looked at her for a bit. She was a bit hunched over but seemingly fine. He guessed she was tired from the fight and had not actually put any chakra into the seal. He called her over to a rock at the side of the field. Hey, nice work on the spar. I am wondering though, what your clan is doing to you. Seemingly depressed, she hung her head. Heh, still a bunch of arrogant idiots. They beat me up more than teach me. Naruto moved towards her and held her while she cried out the worry and tension that the clan gave her. Why are they doing it, Naruto? Why are they acting like that? I'm a kid for Kami's sake. I'm only 12. They even make Hanabi beat me. If I wanted, I could just hit her and Niji back, but I just want to. I don't want to hit them. I don't want the clan to kill each other. They all talk big about how they are the best clan and noble, but inside the walls, they brutally beat up a 12-year-old child, all because her father was born first and that she looks weak. All a bunch of idiots. Ha! And the village that they are in is not that good either. I saw the looks they gave you, Naruto, and don't you dare deny it. Why, Naruto? Why? Her crying turned into sobbing and she whimpered quietly on his shoulder. After a while, he reassured her and told her that it would be fine someday. He promised her that someday, she would be the happiest person alive with all her worries behind her, and that was one promise he was going to keep. She gathered herself quickly after that, and thanked Naruto when he told her that if she ever wanted to talk, he was there for her. Shortly thereafter, he told her how to use the gravity seal. She was nearly suffocating by the time she reached X5, but after a day's progress, she could walk just as fast as before with her seal set to X2.5, though she was not such a proficient ninja at it. After the sun came to the tree line, he told her to go back home or her clan could get suspicious. He also told her that she should do as much walking as she could, as to get used to it before her body adjusted to it as she slept. She thanked him for the advice left. Though not before her told her again that if she ever wanted to talk, he was there for her, and that there was absolutely no reason for her clan to treat her like that, and that the Hyuga except for her were almost all arrogant bastards with a skyscraper up their asses. She had laughed, and went on her way. Truthfully, he thought much of the same thing. Why should she be in a clan that didn't want her there? Why should he be in a village that didn't want him there? He sighed. The only reason he stayed for was the people precious to him. Hinata, Jiji, Choji, Shika, Shino, Irika. They were the only reason. And when he had presented his views to his father, the Yondaime Hokage had agreed with him. Minato had lost any and all respect he had for the village. In fact, if he was there right now, and the village asked him to be a Hokage, he would spit on their faces and point at Naruto. They beat, maimed, tortured, ignored, antagonized, starved, mocked, burned, and electrocuted him beyond recognition. They didn't even deserve mercy. Sarutobi was the Hokage. He did all he could, but he was a Hokage and was not allowed to show favoritism. Jiraiya had to maintain his spy network, but he too had aided the boy whenever he could. He never came in direct contact, but Minato could sense him there. Irika was another that was not allowed to show favoritism, but also aided the boy, kept him out of trouble, and pushed him into being stronger. Then there were Naruto's friends. The 5 of them were a closely knit group. They all trusted Naruto to the greatest degree, thinking of him as a part of a family. It was said by Naruto that they could be trusted, but because of the experiences Kurama and Minato had, they were not too keen on that. They had seen things that Naruto could only dream of, and those would be pleasant dreams. But at least his had them. And that was enough for now. If they kept his secrets, he would give his permission to Naruto. Especially if their feelings stayed where they were, he would find confessing to the indigo-haired girl sooner. He could see the same affection between Naruto and Hinata that there was no is between him and Kushina. Granted, Kushina has not returned those affections until a bit later. Naruto was a spitting image of Minato, but with his wife's personality. Hinata had Minato's personality, kind and gentle. He had a new bet. Then there was the Juken. It was ringing ninja bells in Minato's head. He saw those chakra flashes. The residue that seemingly dissipated in the air. He thought of this much like he had when he had made both the Rasengan and the Hiraishin. He had to ask Kurama about this. Maybe the old fox could tell him something. Hey Furball! You there? Minato called into the mud bath room. That was where the fox had gone to last time. The reply came soon enough. What is it with you human and your interruptions? Is it too much to ask to have a decent relaxing time? Minato laughed. If only, one mud bath is fine, but I don't know if 60 of them count. Besides, I have a question. He heard the fox sigh. Is it about the residual chakra? Minato's eyes widened. How did you know? He heard the beast snort, silly human. All the while you had your eyes right on the girl's hands. Afterwards, I heard the Rasengan spinning and exploding. Do you take me for a fool? I heard all that, and to answer the question, yes. I know what happens to it, and a very powerful technique that can be used by the boy because of his reserves. Minato prodded forward. Why haven't you taught it to him then? Kurama told him, the technique needs crazy good chakra control, lots of chakra and good wind manipulation. Minato frowned. Naruto has all of those. His main element is wind. Again, why not? Kurama sighed. I did not remember the technique till now. Hell, the only reason I thought of it was because of white eyes when you mentioned the chakra residue. Minato furrowed his brows. What's so special about the technique? And why did the Byakugan remind you of it? In fact, where did you find the technique? Kurama laughed. Easy. The reason that the eyes reminded me of the technique was because the technique works just like the eyes. Not everyone can use it though, only a person with very large chakra reserves, wind chakra, and demonic chakra can perform the technique effectively. Otherwise it comes off incomplete. I learned it in my lifespan on one of my missions, not on this stupid piece of rock. Somewhere that you probably don't know of and never will. Minato sighed. He wasn't going to get anything else out of the fox now. He hated it when the demon got all cryptic, and the implication was severe. The technique, though, seemed unbelievable and extremely powerful too. He could only imagine the possibilities that it provided to his son. I wasn't enough to beat Madara, but it was enough to give Naruto a chance. How will Naruto learn it, though? He posed the question to the fox. The fox shrugged and said that when Naruto finished the mission, he would teach him. The technique could take years to perfect, but combined with the slow time in the mindscape, and Naruto's shadow clones, those years could very well pass in less than an hour. Though he would have to make Naruto more proficient in wind manipulation though. Maybe Kurama has a solution to that too. He sat up from in front of the big TV. The familiar snaps were heard as he stretched. He never tired, but his ethereal body was falling out of shape from laziness. It was time to prove to himself why he was the Yondaime Hokage. Besides, being regularly defeated by your 12-year-old son made your ego used to getting crushed every now and then. He had nothing better to do either. Alright then, it was time once again to train. Late at night, near the Inuzuka compound, a shadowed figure crept near the ground. The person appeared to be a young not yet teen under a red coat and black flames at the bottom. The person was wearing an orange outfit and had a mop of spiky blonde hair. Anyways, he crept along the compound walls, spraying something out of a bag he had hidden before. When all of the circular wall was sprayed by the substance, there was about half of the big bag left. A fox-like smirk crept up the boy's face as he put out his hand, whispered futon, chakra shredder, and used his chakra to spin an invisible raisin-gan-like sphere made of wind. It was his first made and one of the most prized techniques. He tossed the sphere inside the bag and swiftly tossed the bag into the compound. A thump was heard as the bag collided into the ground. The compound guards and dogs stood at attention, hearing the thump, but none, remembering where the noise had come from. The figure ran away from the compound, footsteps echoing the boy's presence. No one either noticed nor investigated the bag silently spinning and tossing the substance around the compound, spraying over the walls and roofs. And no one certainly noticed the invisible sphere slowly shred the bag to little less than microscopic pieces and die itself out. In the morning, when the Inuzuka dogs chased the cats in the compound, the aggravated clan members certainly didn't notice that pieces of the once noble bag. They tried to sniff out the reason why there was catnip covering the compound. Even their best hound found no scent. When Kakashi arrived at the Hokage's office, late, of course, for his team's mission, he was surprised to find the rookie teams all assembled impatiently in front of the Hokage. And then he was not so surprised to hear shouts of "Sensei, you're late!" from Naruto. He silently noted the Inuzuka wince and calmly told the room full of people that he had been helping an interdimensional traveler go back to his dimension, and had been delayed trying to find the portal. The Hokage, Jonin, and the outcasts rolled their eyes while the other teams watched with puzzled eyes. The Hokage called for attention. Attention, all of you. I promised Team 7 a C-ranked mission due to their outstanding performance on all the D-ranked missions they have gone on so far. But due to the fact that we have Chunin ready for the C-ranked on the roll, I have decided to change the plan. Instead of the C-rank going to Team 7, I have decided to Teams 7, 8, and 10 a BA-ranked mission to do together. The students and teachers alike displayed different levels of surprise ranging from widened eyes to gasps. The Hokage acknowledged their response and continued on. I know that this may come as a surprise to you all, as this has never happened before in Konoha history. And I think that this would turn out to be a success, and with the Hyuga, Inuzuka, Uchiha, Nara etc. clans, Naruto, and 3 Jonin, I am confident that this placement will work wonderfully. Now on to the mission. Come in, Tazuna. An obviously drunk man lumbered into the room at the Hokage's shout. He widened his eyes at the assembled shinobi. The Hokage began again. Shinobi, this is Tazuna, the famous builder from the Land of Waves, and he is trying to build a bridge to span the nation and drastically increase the country's economy. The country's current condition is really poor, with Gato the businessman's entry to Wave. It seems that Gato has hired ninja to assassinate Tazuna and stop the bridge that threatens his business. Your mission is to escort Tazuna to Wave Country and protect him while he finishes the bridge. Now, Tazuna, you are ordered to go to the West Gate and wait there for the teams to get ready to escort you. All genin are ordered to pack the needed supplies and have 1 hour to do so. All the jonin need to remain here for a more detailed debriefing. Dismissed. Poof went the space that their teacher now stood in. Except for Naruto, Hinata, Shino, Kurenai, and Asuma, who were used to the thing, all others stood surprised at the scene. Kakashi just raised one lazy hand, and without looking away from his perverted book, said yo to the group. Naruto had his hand up just before Kiba, but thinking that it would not make 1 iota of a difference, and too excited to ruin the mood of his first high-ranked mission, lowered it in silent resignation right after Kiba's shout of "You're late." Kakashi brushed the back of his head with his hand and told them that a pretty lady needed help finding some roses and he couldn't refuse to help her. The classic eye rolls followed. Then all of them decided to set the pace for the trek. Kakashi said that since they were in no big hurry, they could walk the way to Wave, while Naruto suggested just knocking Tazuna out and having their jonin carry him to Wave. And much to Naruto's endless disappointment, the rest of the genin and Tazuna chose Kakashi's idea. Sasuke's only input was an HN and a brooding aura. It was only yet an hour after they had set off that the outcasts and the jonin noticed the genjutsu lying on the road. The 5 genin's eyes flickered to each other's and the jonin nodded to their comrades behind Kurenai's well-made genjutsu. Kakashi spoke first. "Oh, little kitties, why don't we take a 5-minute break and let our client rest a bit before setting off again?" Kurenai and Asuma nodded, finalizing the decision. They decided to rest in a bit of foliage off the road, and the Jonin chose to lead the genin there. The 3 grown-ups had just taken the front seats when the puddle right ahead went up in smoke, revealed 2 hidden mist chunin, and the group froze at the killing intent that they exuded. To the genin, all except Kurama and Minato were oblivious to the fact that they were now trapped in a genjutsu courtesy of Kurenai Yuhi. What actually happened was that the Kurenai simply trapped everyone in the vicinity except her and her Jonin comrades in a really awesome genjutsu. They simply jumped into the foliage of the trees. What the genin saw was that their sensei were the only ones not continuously affected by the killing intent and leapt at their attackers, then promptly get sliced by the chain on their attackers' hands. The attackers simply relished at the thought of killing 3 Jonin in one attack. Their pride was holding them in place as they gloated heartily in their minds. The genin were different, and each a different reaction with what they saw. Ino's mind went blank, sending no thoughts to her except the apparently infinite replay of her sensei getting torn to pieces by the chain, in utter dreadful silence that shook her to the core. She couldn't move. She did not see in front of her eyes and did not hear the bone-shattering scream from Sakura that her ears gave her. There was just that chain, Asuma-sensei's widening eyes, the split body parts of her very new and like sensei, the pieces lying on the floor of the forest, his mouth opening in a silent scream. She did not notice anything beside that, and again she fell to her knees. She barely feels the contact of the floor hitting her knees, jarring her whole body. She did not fully feel the contact, but barely, she did feel it. She saw the same event happening again. It was fully the same thing, the same clarity, but it felt a little bit numb now, and yet it felt a little bit more real. The numbness too, with the replays inside her head, faded a bit. Then the anger settled in. It clouded her mind. Now what she saw was not Asuma dying, but his body on the floor and the mirthful eyes of the hidden mist chunin. She did not care if she was just a genin, or that the ninja was far more skilled than her and could kill her in a heartbeat. It just didn't matter. She bared her teeth, stood up, crouched, picked out a kunai, and charged. At the same time, the state of the other genin was not much different. Sakura could feel nothing but fear from the moment the killing intent settled on her. She felt her hands fly to her mouth, yet did nothing to stifle the scream that ripped from her mouth. Her mind was as much as a jumbled of a mess as her sensei lying on the cold ground of the forest. She did not know what was real anymore. More than that, though, she felt fear. What would happen to her? She was barely a child. She had a full life ahead of her. Now, being a ninja was not as cool as she had thought it to be. She was going to die. She had not even fulfilled her life's dream. Oh, Kami! What about Sasuke-kun? Was he going to die? Her inner self did not speak at the boy's mention. She thought that this was the end of her life. No more. No more was she going to have a life, a chance at Sasuke-kun's love, beating Ino and Hinata. Oh, Kami! She was going to die. But she couldn't just die standing there like a fool. No, she had to do something. She had to do something. Her comrades would die. So she did. She did the only thing capable of her at the time. She took out the kunai from her pouch and readied herself. She had to survive. She charged. Kiba smelled the blood. It was not a foreign smell to his. There were Niken in compound that had to go to his sister, as she was the vet. He had never thought that the smell could be so overwhelming. He could just feel the rusty scent at licking at the tip of his nose. The scent did not wait for his consent to just rush up his nose and assault the sense he valued most. He jerked, and his hands flew from his waist to his nose to stop the smell from choking his very being. Then he saw the mangled and cut-up body of his sensei. His hand lowered a bit to stop the bile that rushed up his throat. He heard Akamaru bark fearfully. He felt Akamaru crawl down his jacket, pants, and hide behind his leg. He felt Akamaru bite his leg. He jolted. His Niken. He could not let him die. His comrades, he could not let them die. He would not let them die. He growl matched Akamaru's, and he started sprinting towards the Chunin. Sasuke saw the blood and the bodies. His mind snapped back to the incident years ago. The night he lost everything, it was so clear. The night had been years ago, yet it was as clear as the time he had seen it, and in his nightmares. He heard Itachi's taunting voice. He would never get revenge. He would die a pathetic end from the ninja in front of him. They had beaten Jonin, and he would probably be no match for him. His ambition would not be fulfilled. He would not get revenge. He heard the scream of his teammate. He saw his comrades and his sensei. They were all goners. He had to save himself, and not die till he had gotten his revenge. Revenge. He could not beat Itachi till he had beaten the lower classes. They were in his way.